Records.
Hello there, everyone. How the devil are we all? I am very well, I thank you for asking. How are we all? Are we well? Got new headphones. That was an essential. Yeah, how are we all? Are we well? More importantly, is Mad Cat Scotty Eye slash what do you call it? Fuck's sake, Katie Marshall in chat? Because I'm wearing this shirt directly for her because she paid me to yesterday. But the thing is, it's very, very tight on me now. As you can tell, this is an old shirt. This is from the early 2000s, I think. And I was a lot skinnier back when I bought this top. I'd rather take it off. Not because I hate Celtic or anything. I love Celtic to pieces. But I also quite enjoy breathing and being able to move without tearing seams of clothing. So, you know. I'll wait till she's here. Your nipples be heading out? No, I'm not nipping. I'm nice and good. Oh, well, what a fantastic introduction to everyone from Cairo's Rev. Hello, Cairo's Rev. Everyone go and follow Cairo's Rev. Immediately, I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the UK, and you can pay me to wear items of my own clothing that I haven't worn in 15 years because I'm fat.
We got him. Victory is ours.
Thank you. Hello there. BDS is BDE. I don't know what's BDE. What does that mean? I don't know. But thank you for joining anyway. Welcome to the Kevolution. You should hit the follow button, everybody. Because it's free. For a start. Oh, big dick energy. Right, I'm with you. Well, I'm the president, as we announced yesterday, in keeping with the
like a baby otter.
With the self-imposed non-Jewish head of the Jewish Aston Villa Supporters Club. I've been awarded the honorary membership, the honorary presidency of the massive cock, big Ripley muscled Chad Society Association Club. Because that's how it works. You just get to just make shit up now, apparently. So, there you go. Of which more later, everybody. Because news never stops, yo. Anyway, yeah, so, hit the follow button, new people, and be cool. Do they have Liverpool fan meltdown compilations? Probably. But to be fair, Liverpool fans are less entitled. I will say that.
Gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours.
You know how I've been feeling a little bit sorry for Man United fans over recent times because they keep losing all the while, and I've sort of been like, oh, see, I hate Man United, but like their club, they have such high expectations and are so pathetic at the minute. It's kind of sad. Today I remembered why I hated them. Some of the most arrogant cunts in the world. Now, to be fair, I also don't mind that they beat Liverpool because even though I like Liverpool.
Victory is ours.
They're starting to get that way as well. Success does things to people, and also the Alexander Isak thing. That doesn't sit well. That really doesn't sit well. So you know the fact that they've spent £100 gazillion on a useless striker, and now can't score or win games to save their fucking lives. Kind of funny. Kind of funny. What is that? Yes, I want to stay in the call. Anyway, we'll be on with No Justice of the MTGs at some point. She's currently watching motor racing. Hello to new people, by the way. Much love. And thank you to Michael for gifting a sub. And thank you to Davey B for 9 months. An entire YouTube pregnancy. Let's fucking go. And thank you also. Something happened, didn't it? Wayward Historian 5 stream streak. To be fair, aren't you on like a 5-year streak at this point, Wayward. You're here every night. And God bless you, you're a glorious person. Also, why does it only tell me some people that follow? Because I went to check Mima Ladoazou. I apologise for that pronunciation. Apparently you did follow 4 minutes ago, but it hasn't told me that that's the case. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Very, 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 very cringe. Very, very, very cringe.
Extraordinarily cringe. I haven't added anything to the soundboard from yesterday because I'll be honest with you, real life intervened. Real life intervened. I spent the afternoon. It was my mother's birthday for a start off. So happy birthday to my mother. I won't tell you how old she is because she wouldn't like that. I did write a sarcastic age in her card. I put happy 31st birthday. Which would make her younger than me, but she got the joke. Because we do that all the time. We pretend she's aging in reverse. And actually she's just shrinking. And she wasn't tall to begin with, to be honest. God bless her. She says, she says she entered high school, or senior school as it's called here in Britain, but high school, as the tallest girl, or one of the tallest girls in her year, because she had her growth spurt early, and then didn't grow at all during high school, and left as one of the shortest. And has basically been very short ever since. So that's the thing. Anyway, but more importantly, we went out for a little meal and then back to my mum's house, where we were joined by my younger brother, he of getting my mother to buy me absurd gifts about franchises I've never fucking cared about. Like my Star Wars Funko Pop. Never been interested in that. I've got Five Nights at Freddy's shite, which I didn't even know existed until I was bought a gift by my mother. I've got a crochet, and actually, I'll show for the new people. I'll show you this. This is mainly for the new people. Old heads will know this one. My brother tells my mum that I'm into certain things, like certain cultural franchises and stuff, and then she either buys me gifts or, in this case, crocheted me this fucking thing. I'll put it on full screen for everybody. Well, get rid of sincerity cam because I'm not being sincere on this occasion. I'm being sincere that she did this for me, but not that I hate it or anything because I've kept it. But she crocheted me a really atrocious Sonic the Hedgehog. A franchise I've never been remotely interested in. But there you go. God bless her. She's a fucking lunatic. Anyway, she and not just that, she gave me this in the car park of a hospital after we'd taken my brother, who did this, who made this happen, his fucking child to the hospital because it had not broken its arm. They've got my young niece has got problems with her shoulder joints. So if something pulls on her arm, it pops out of place too easily. So we've had to take her to the hospital several times. And it was one of those occasions. And I just thought, you clever bastard. So yeah, that's... It was her birthday. Anyway. And so we spent the afternoon with my niece and nephew as well. Which was beautiful. Although that's now made me sneeze because it's got fucking dust on it. Anyway... Because I don't vacuum it, you see, it just sits there. Anyway, and I spent a little bit of time explaining to my niece how time works. Because we were explaining, that it was my mum's birthday, and my mum's birthday. She's that old, right? She's years old. And my young niece, who's like nearly 4 years old at this point, said, don't worry, Nanny, I'll catch you up. Which is adorable, but wrong. It's temporally incorrect. That's not how time works. And I had to explain it to her. How else is she going to know if we don't teach her? And so I sat her down and said, you will never, ever catch Nanny. You will see her die in your lifetime. Come to terms with that now.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Quite so.
Your mother and I have that in common.
Have what in common? The fuck are you talking about? What, crocheting? I said to my niece, you will see the life drain from this human that you have grown to love. Because time destroys all. As you begin to age into your adolescence, you will see her wither and pass from this world. Come to peace with that now. I didn't really say that. I just explained very briefly that as she gets a year older, so does everyone else. And I explained it to her. She didn't understand at first. And then I mentioned her brother. And I said, well, you're 4. And I'll give him a fake name. Let's call him Jebediah. You're 4, and Jebediah is not even 2 yet. So as you become 4, Jebediah will then become 2. And so on and so on. And I explained it to her going through the numbers like that with her. And she was like, oh, okay. So she understood. The bit about death I just did for the laughs. That was just for me and you. I didn't really say that to her. Obviously, I'm not a psychopath. Your mother and I have that in common. What did you mean crocheting? Are you also a crocheter, Rachel? Because that's okay. Either way, thank you for the $2. I appreciate that. There was a heist today. Oh yeah, in the Louvre in Paris. I've been there just for legal reasons. I was not there at any point in the last 48 hours. So you can cross me off the list. I mean, they said they'd taken priceless works of art, and I thought, how did they get hold of my nudes? Crazy. Happy birthday then to Rachel Atwood. Happy birthday to you for however old you are. Much love. Yeah, they did. They took the French crown jewels, which, like, I get the spirit of the no kings thing that they were trying to go for, but they took it a little bit literal. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the no kings thing in America, they very much appreciated international solidarity, but you went a bit too literal with the thing, you know. The fuck am I talking about? Anyway, happy birthday to Rachel. Much love. Trump did it for his poo playing video. What the fuck does that sentence mean? I don't know what that means. Anyway, we'll be joined by No Justice in the not too distant future. Which, like I say, she's watching Formula 1 at the moment. I haven't seen a poo plane video. No, what does that mean? Does he have a plane filled with shit? It's a poo plane. It's fueled by poo. What the fuck are you talking? You people are making up old shite. You talk nonsense. Do I have nobody wants to see that? No, I don't. But if you put it on the thing, I'll do it. I don't think I've got any Keith on here. No, I haven't. No. I mean, I've got things describing Keith.
Wank.
But I haven't got any Keir Starmer on there at all, no. Trump posts AI video showing him literally dumping on America. Let's have a look. What the fuck is... what? And of course he calls himself King Trump, naturally. The Republicans can never be allowed to forget that they supported this. But then again, the Democrats are fucking useless, so they probably will be able to. There's no noise on it, apparently. Okay. See, the world doesn't need this. The world did not need that to exist. Okay, we don't need to see it again. Thank you. The world does not need to see that. The world does need to see a breakdancing chicken in front of the cops, though. You get the idea. Did you see the leaked racist Republican? Yeah, I did, yeah. Is anyone remotely surprised? Of course the Republicans are fucking racist. That's all they ever do. They're as racist as that in public, you know. Anyway. This was funny. So this was from Colorado, which I'm sure will be of interest, I believe, to a wayward historian as a citizen of that fine state. Anyway, some dickhead in a New York Giants fucking top for some reason decided to antagonise people and then got angry when they got antagonised. It's the same cry-wolly bullshit as always from Trumpists.
Let's go! Let's go! God bless Trump! God bless Trump! God bless Trump! God bless Trump! Yeah, fuck you! Ride your bike, you fucking fag! Go get a job! Yeah! Loser! Fucking loser!
That's the still you need from it. There you go. Literally fucking eating concrete, man. Fuck. That is a wipeout. Fuck yes. Gets better. Gets better. Oh, fucking eating curb. Oh no. Oh, no. No. Content warning for blood. Literally laughing at him and that. Remember, he brought this all on himself. He decided to antagonise people and then got fucking pissed off when they shouted back. What a fucking loser. You can't park there, mate. Boom.
You guys are gonna get your ass beat if you don't quit. I'm serious. Hey, get your buddy. Get your buddy. Back up, man. You ran into me. What the fuck? Yeah, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Can't touch this.
Trip his ass! Fuck you! Fuck pussy!
Oh, look at that. That's a nasty fucking gash, man.
Get out of here, dude! What are you doing? Get out
Oh. We are going to have to go in for a zoom, and I'm sorry. For people who don't like blood, that's fine, but... Oh, fuck me. Ooh. Ooh.
What are you doing? Get out of here! They're violent right now. Get fucked up! Get out of here! I don't know where they are. Get out of here! Get out of here! I'm sorry, you need to go. I don't want you to get hurt more than you are. I don't know where.
Fair dues. But again, we need that. We need the ultimate, the pegging money shot, so to speak. Boom. There you go. Screenshot it for your own purposes. Dickhead. Don't forget, everybody, if you like my content, and why wouldn't you? It's beautiful. You can hit the like button. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Hang on, you can't hit the like button on fucking Twitch, can you? Kevin is obviously the fun uncle. True. Anyway, you can become a what do you call it? Fuck. You can follow. You can follow me here. You can become a subscriber. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. You can give subs to the community. You can do bits messages. 200 bits or more gets you a text to speech. You can do super chats. $2 or more gets you a text to speech. If you're on, I really should mute that, but I don't give a fuck. You can. I've got. You can help me on Patreon and PayPal. I've got Discord, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. If you're on YouTube, oi the fuck to the oi oi. You can subscribe for now. Thumb the video up. Hit the bell icon. You can become a member for 99 pence. You can give memberships at that exact same price. And as if that's not enough, you can do super chats, which will be read out as a thing, I think, in a really bad voice. So shit a voice is it that that I can't really understand and have to go and read it anyway, thus sort of defeating the object from my perspective anyway. I was already aware of that, and we will mention that as we get to it, but you did remind me, thank you, to follow Muffin Alley. Muffin the Hamster Man, let's go, on Blue Sky. Much love. I did hear about Milo Yiannopoulos maybe having brain cancer, which, you know, I apologise, my condolences to cancer for the damage to its reputation of being inside of his cranium. Although, to be fair, there's plenty of fucking room. Oh god, they're going to do Poppy Wank as well, brilliant. But anyway, so TwitchCon has been happening, and in addition to them allowing random people to assault their content creators, they just allow random homophobes in, I think.
Faggots. I'm kidding, but like, my brother's gay. The fuck? I kissed two guys at once. How can I be homophobic? You don't know anything. You're just a woman.
You can still be homophobic.
Ha ha ha. Ha, you don't know anything. You're a woman. See, this is what I mean when I say boomerism isn't an age. It's a state of mind. It's not what's on your birth certificate, it's what's in your fucking head. And this guy is a bell piece. An absolute fucking goon. A fool. Can we agree he's lived far too long? Well, let's not. Terms of service, let's not do that. Let's not.
Oh, and what are you? Homosexual?
A reasonable human being.
How am I homophobic? I love my brother.
You're not just hear all the slurs you
So
said?
what was doesn't mean I'm homophobic just because I say a faggot, I'm homophobic?
Yeah. That is a thing that's homophobic, yes. Yes. If you say racist things, it means you're racist. If you say homophobic things, you're homophobic, yes.
Faggot, faggot, faggot. I'm homophobic.
Oi, oi, oi.
What was reasonable? And nothing's gonna happen to me. That's the problem. No, I'm kidding. But listen, like, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be so sure about things not happening to you, friend. Because, like, you're protected whilst you're at TwitchCon, because Twitch are fucking useless. And by the way, TwitchCon needs to die. But out there on the mean streets, there's no such protections for you. If you go around screaming that word at people, you're likely to lose teeth. I'm not asking that anyone do that. I'm not suggesting that anyone should do that. I am merely informing you of a truth of the world. The people, when aggressed upon, will respond. So when you say nothing will happen to me, I wouldn't be quite so certain of that. I'd wind your fucking neck in if I were you, son.
She walked up and flicked you off.
Yeah, you walked up and flipped me off, bro. You have nothing to say to me. I'm not homophobic. Wait, time out, time out. What if I wasn't homophobic? What else do you have to say to me?
Transphobic, homophobic.
That for sure. None of my family members are trans, so.
Hairline's receding. That's why the curls are on the forehead.
You wish, boy. My dad's 69 and had full head of hair.
Your dad's 69. Nice. Also, I don't care. Transphobes get terms of service.
You wish. Now, I need a good comeback. I need something from you. You're full of hate. I need you to have one good, hateful comment on me. Something that makes sense. Something that's true. Because I'm not.
I think he's better looking than you.
No, because you have nothing to say. You definitely. You have nothing to say.
I pulled this.
You're speechless. What is that?
She's rich now.
Also, just leave her the fuck alone, you weird creep. Like, for reals, just leave her alone. She doesn't want to talk to you.
It's a fucking Pokemon card, dog. Like, she was saying mean things to me.
Oh, I was telling you he's homophobic.
He's like a Hispanic faggot, bro.
But it's like, that's not a big deal. My brother's gay. I can say faggot.
No, you can't. No, that's not how that works. That's not at all how that works.
This is a dumb clip you're farming.
I can say faggot. I can say it. If a word offends you, you can cry about it. You really can.
See, this is why I don't feel sorry for people like Charlie Kirk, because they've made this world. You know?
Oh, whoops, I've connected my headphones to my phone by accident. Just 1 second, we're going to go unconnect them.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll just make noise whilst we wait, I guess. Yeah. Can I? Well, Mad Mart, no you can't, because that would be terms of service. So please refrain from actual threats of violence, because that would be against the terms of service. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Right. I now have connected my headphones. We can go ahead. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Who won the sports race?
The race? Oh, it was Max Verstappen, of course. Very boring.
Well, there you go.
Shouldn't have bothered. Could have streamed at the normal time.
Ah, well. At least you enjoyed yourself. Maybe, I don't know.
I am enjoying the Greens being bigger than the Conservatives.
Yes, 128,000 and counting, which
Absolutely,
is mental.
absolutely.
They've got over 5,000 in the last 24 hours. That's like exponential growth at that point.
I mean, we're coming for reform.
Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Although, on the other hand, we now have found out apparently that football hooligans are a protected characteristic.
They are, except of course in Israel, which we'll get to. Because there's news. There's news. Oh, there's so much fucking news.
That's
Right.
always news.
Before we get to Laura Koonsberg, though, on that topic of football hooliganism and being, a protected characteristic, we have talked, and apologies if you don't like football, but this isn't really about football. This is about politics, my friends. The story of the Maccabi Haifa fans being banned from the game against Aston Villa here in my own home city of Birmingham. I did just want to go over this post on Twitter, because naturally, from our old friend Bobby J, who, in addition to lying, is just wrong about everything.
Who would have thought that Mr. Private School Education, Mr. Conservative MP, very, very posh man, knows jack shit about football?
Yes, indeed. But before we even get to that, so he's talking about the Maccabi Haifa fans being banned and all the rest of it. And as you say, football hooliganism must be allowed in the UK, right? That is an ironclad consensus at Westminster now. Except it isn't in Israel, where today was due to be the derby between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Hapoel Tel Aviv. Except it got so violent that the Israeli police abandoned it. So
they're just small beans. They're being attacked by the radical Antifa Marxists of Hapoel Tel Aviv.
Literally. So our police are expected to deal with this shit. Our country is expected to deal with this shit, and Israel won't deal with its own fucking shit. It's mental.
Incredible.
And by the way, that was Hapoel Tel Aviv, the side that Maccabi Tel Aviv, these small bean little terribly oppressed individuals, sing about killing and raping their women.
They do indeed. They do. They're special birthday boys, and they can have a riot as a treat.
Indeed. The Tel Aviv derby has been called off before a ball was even kicked amid violent scenes. The scheduled Israeli Premier League match between rivals Hapoel Tel Aviv and Maccabi Tel Aviv was forced to be called off by local police, so that's Israeli police, largely Jewish, but apparently they're anti-Semitic as well, in the stadium ahead of kickoff. There's the scenes of peaceful football fans there. Fans from both clubs reported to have thrown flares, smoke grenades, and even stones onto the pitch from the stands. Brilliant stuff. It's
like the bit in The Simpsons where Marge starts a pretzel business.
Yeah.
And gives them out free at the American football game. And they
Indeed.
Go, here come the pretzels.
And there's a collection of just the small number of smoke bombs that were thrown onto the pitch there.
By just the most upstanding football fans in the Middle East.
What we really need is that to come here. We need them to bring all of their pyrotechnics and smash the place up, obviously. Otherwise, how will people know how integrated we are?
True, absolutely. That is the hallmark of integration, is allowing foreign thugs to come and ruin your cities.
Yeah, excellent work. So, again, the Israeli police are Hamas, naturally. So just for that context...
considering that the Israeli state has funded Hamas in the past, it's not that far.
Yes, but that's the wider context for who Robert Jenrick is going to bat for here. Just in case anyone was wondering. So, Bobby J says, something has fundamentally changed in Birmingham, and Britain too has changed with it. Because we're trendsetters, Consider football. The rough and tumble of our national game is nothing new for the West Midlands. Okay. Growing up in the 80s, my dad took me more than a few games at Villa Park in the away end. The language, chants and antics were at times... the language, chants and antics were, at times, less than well-mannered. But it was largely good-natured fun.
Whoa. Time out, Home Slice. Good-natured fun. Football, the 80s.
Yes.
Not sure about that one, Chief.
I mean, I could be pedantic here and suggest that I think he's lying about this to begin with, because Robert Jenrick was born in 1982 and claims to be a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, and said there he was in the away end. So we are to take it that he was going on about Wolverhampton Wanderers playing at Aston Villa. Small problem with that. They weren't in the same division from 1985 to 2009. So
he's genuinely such a rancid fucking turd, isn't he?
Like, I think he's also lying. But let's ignore that. Let's just say he was alive and around and is making cultural commentary about the time. Let's ignore the obvious lie about the particulars involved in that. Right. Well-mannered. They were a little bit rough, but it was largely good-natured fun. Is he referring to the rampant hooliganism? Like, literally, every week there was hooligan antics up and down the country, to the point where they started a thing called the Hoolie trains, where the then, at the time, nationalised train service put on specific trains from specific cities, and you could only get into away stadiums if you went on that train directly into that town centre, were then marshalled by the police to the away end, and then marched straight back to the fucking thing again and shipped back off home to try and stop trouble.
Was it the good-natured fun where from 1985 until 1990 UK or English teams were banned from Europe?
Oh, I was going to get onto that. I was going to get onto it. Yes, because of course there was the good-natured fun of the time where Birmingham City fans rioted at St Andrews. A wall collapsed and a Leeds United fan died. That was on the same day as the Bradford fire, which is why no one remembers it. In many respects, good PR. There was a thing called the credit card knife, which is where you would have two blades each to the side of a credit card to be used on the faces and or bodies of opposing fans, making it impossible to stitch up when they went to hospital. Many people bled out. The Hoolies were a lovely group.
That sounds like just good-natured fun to me.
Yeah. There was
less than well-mannered, but good-natured fun.
The fact that you had, unbelievable levels of racism, to the point where regularly, every week, black players would have bananas thrown at them. There was the organisation West Bromwich Albion, literally just down the road from Birmingham. So there's literally no excuse for him to not know this. They played 3 black players. They were known as the 3 Degrees: Laurie Cunningham, Cyril Regis and Brendan Batson, and they regularly had the chant, and I'm going to clean it up for air, N-word, N-word, lick my boots, sang at them on terraces from the late 70s to the mid-80s.
Less than well-mannered, but good-natured fun, Kev, that's all that is.
Good-natured fun, lovely stuff. And then, of course, as you pointed out, English clubs were literally banned for the second half of that particular decade. Why was that? Oh, it's because Liverpool fans rioted at the European Cup final in Brussels at the Heysel Stadium. A wall collapsed and 30-odd Juventus fans died.
Good-natured fun.
Good-natured fun.
Well...
Good-natured, and then, of course, just to round it off, not technically hooliganism in any respect whatsoever, except hooliganism by the people who are allowed to be hooligans. The end of that decade was marked in 1989 with the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest at the Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield, where the police murdered 97 people. Good-natured fun is how he described that decade. I think he might be lying again. What do you reckon, chat? I reckon people who don't know about football should shut the fuck up and do one.
It's almost like, Kev, it's almost like he's pretending to know about these things so that he can pretend that he is as involved as possible, so it gives his desire to turn this into a race war more weight.
Yeah. He continues, unfortunately. Where there was violence, the police put a quick but firm end to it. Did they? Did they? Because hooliganism was a very significant problem from the mid-1960s until today. Less of a problem today, thankfully. But the 1980s was such a low point that, as we pointed out, because of hooliganism, English clubs were banned from the European competitions, and attendances were the lowest that they'd been in a century. Because people didn't want to go there because of the violence. Just saying. It's almost like he's talking shit again. Such was the rhythm of British life, that same men and women worked together all week, turning up and supporting different teams on a Saturday. What fucking world are you living in? Firstly, there were virtually no women at games. Now, that's just true. Statistically, you look at it, because there was lots of violence, including sexual violence, against any women who did turn up. It was awful.
When you say the same men and women worked together all week, I mean, well, historically they didn't. Historically, people lived in the towns where they grew up, and they worked in the towns where they grew up because there were jobs in the towns where they grew up, and they supported the towns where they grew up, and they travelled around the country to other places. Like, they didn't. Largely, this was the whole point of having a football team, is it was based around the working community that you were there for. Yeah. Like, no, people didn't just. We don't have like work from home in the 80s.
Yeah. There was also, just whilst we're on the topic of misogyny at 1980s football, there was the regular occasion where, unfortunately, and this was mostly in the late 70s but did spill over into the 1980s, when the reign of the Yorkshire Ripper was taking place, that being Sutcliffe, who thankfully died of COVID, massive W for COVID in chat, whilst he was still in prison for the murder of several women. Mostly sex workers, survival sex workers, but either way.
Well, I think you mean women who worked as prostitutes.
Indeed. Well, look, we don't want to offend Richard Littlejohn. Heaven forbid. Yes, during that time, there was a hoax that went around that suggested the man was from Sunderland. And so Sunderland fans, and indeed visiting fans to Sunderland, would often sing about how he was one of our own. Celebrating a serial killer of sex workers. I wonder why no women wanted to go to games in the 1980s. Shocking. But, good-natured fun. Naturally.
Less than what managed, but good-natured fun.
Yeah, brilliant. No longer. Lol. The decision from West Midlands Police to ban Jewish football fans from Villa Park marks a new low for our nation. Time out, Home Slice. Who's banned Jewish football fans? Who's done that?
No, whoa. They've banned the man who pretended to be Jewish when speaking with Sky News.
Yes, I'd covered that yesterday. That's by the way, that organisation is literally made up. It doesn't exist. It's not registered with the club. It doesn't seem to have any members or any other people involved in it whatsoever. He made it up. He's just literally a paid-for shill of the Israeli state. But, if only he'd been talking to journalists who could have investigated that for 5 seconds. Crazy.
The fearless for the states.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful stuff. Anyway, there is no ban on Jewish fans. Indeed, Villa fans who are Jewish, or indeed neutrals who are Jewish, can attend. Because what would it even mean to have a ban on Jewish fans? You'd have to have a person at every turnstile, every entry point to the stadium, quizzing people about their ethnic background and/or theological views. Like, what the fuck do you think? They don't have enough stewards and police for the fucking game, let alone extra people to fucking go, well, do you believe in a heaven and hell? Are you a believer, say, in the Holy Trinity, perhaps? What the fuck are you talking about? How the fuck would you even... Look, even if you wanted to, how would you ban a specific, non-easily definable, visually anyway, racial, religious, or ethnic category? It's not possible. And no one is anyway. Jewish fans that aren't fucking people from Maccabi Tel Aviv can attend. Literally, they're such violent lunatics that even the Israeli police called off the Tel Aviv derby today. One day before presumably there will be an emergency question debate about this topic in Parliament, and everyone will stand up and say that we need to accept that violent scum into our nation. Because, heaven forbid, the people at Westminster ever actually represent the will of the British people, overwhelmingly, well, not overwhelmingly, but the plurality of which is that they support this ban. And yet, 1% of politicians have come out and said that they support it. It's almost like they're not serving you and I, isn't it?
Literally every single political party that isn't the Green Party or the Scottish National Party has come out and said they want the ban overturned.
Yeah.
Genuinely insane. Also want to say thank you, Jack Miller, for the £22, for £20 donation. 129k members as of right now, maybe 130k for the Greens. We're totally going to go bigger conference space next year, to quote an alternate universe box. If they form in Yorkshire, Leeds ain't big enough for all of us. Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Anyway. What has changed? Well, last week there were howls of outrage over my answer to that question. A leaked tape recorded me saying that in parts of Birmingham integration had totally failed. Firstly, it was not just that, the fact that you called it a slum is not ideal. People don't like that. And it was the fact that you didn't talk to anyone from the area.
And you also lied about not seeing a white face.
Yeah.
When the footage that you put up of yourself had white faces in it.
Yeah. I've been to Handsworth, which apparently is the only area of Birmingham that he's ever been to. Well, that and Villa, obviously, because he'd been there to watch games in the 1980s. Honest, he did. No, I promise. I've been to Handsworth and seen a community that did not represent the full breadth of British society. Time out. You represent like a little leafy village. You think that represents the full breadth of British society?
Yeah, Newark's famously very representative of the wider UK.
Yeah, you represent like 4 white people in a field. Shut up. It, like too much of Birmingham, resembled a segregated community. It's not segregated. You just saw brown faces and went, they're all the same. Because it's about 40%, something like that, Asian, so like Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, which again is not the same group of people. And then there's about 30-odd% black, and then there's about 10% white and assorted others, right? I think those are the numbers. Someone might correct me on that, but it's something like that. Either way, it's one of the most racially diverse areas in the country. It's just, you just want white people.
Yep,
literally. Because you're racist. You know. That's not the kind of country I want. I want a country where fellow Brits live side by side with a strong sense of national togetherness and unity. Which is something you have not shown it doesn't exist in Handsworth. You just showed that there are largely people of colour there.
And also, he wants the opposite.
Yeah.
Also, because he wants the opposite. He wants a race war. That's what he wants.
Yeah. Not the majority. The Mayor of the West Midlands, the Bishop of Birmingham, the BBC, the entire BBC apparently, and others all lined up to say I was wrong. The local MP, Ayub Khan, described my views as a far-right cliché, while simultaneously organising a protest to prevent Israeli fans... Whoa, you said Jewish fans. Whoa, home slice. Israeli fans is what you say there, but up here you said it was Jewish football fans. Those are not the same thing. Those are not interchangeable things.
Michael Gove hath spoke. He hath decreed that it is the same thing.
Indeed.
To be fair, Michael Gove essentially implied that all Maccabi Tel Aviv fans represented all Jewish people, which is insane.
Which is about as anti-Semitic as it gets, to be honest with you, yeah.
Literally.
And of course, Aston Villa Football Club itself has adopted the IHRA definition on anti-Semitism, which strictly says associating the nation of Israel with the actions of Israel with all Jewish people is anti-Semitic. So, you know.
It is.
Yeah, it literally is.
Yeah, these people are literally being anti-Semitic. Like, not only are they saying that all Jewish people are responsible for the genocide, which would be an anti-Semitic thing to say, they're also saying that all Jews are responsible for the actions of football hooligans, which is incredibly anti-Semitic for them to say.
Yeah. Then, having whined about being described as giving out a far-right cliche, the next stanza is just a far-right cliche. Many, including the BBC and ITV, misquoted me. I faced the inevitable accusations of racism. There was the drivel about diversity being our strength. That's what happens time and time again to anyone voicing the mildest critique of immigration. Firstly, those people weren't immigrants. They're largely born here. And secondly, this is just a far-right cliche.
Literally.
Others continue to attack me. Handsworth is a model of community, they say. Villa Park is a few streets from Handsworth. A week after my remarks were reported, West Midlands have now in effect is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. West Midlands police have now in effect declared those streets a no-go zone for Jews.
Except they haven't. They haven't done any of that.
Yeah, that's literally another lie. Another lie in all of this.
It's almost like Robert Jenrick is a proven morally corrupt serial liar.
Well, yes, indeed, which means he will.
it's
He probably will become leader of the Conservative Party then. Yeah.
Literally, like, our politics in this country is just a lying competition.
Basically. My comments weren't based on a few hours in Birmingham. Yes, they were. I've known the city my whole life. No, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
They were based on a deep concern for the lack of action by successive governments, including your own, to tackle the
immigration minister.
Indeed. To tackle the abject failure of integration. There has been at least 6 serious reports in the last 20 years. I don't know how you're defining serious reports as opposed to, what, whimsical reports? I don't know. Saying much the same as I did. I don't think you can count the Rivers of Blood speech as a serious report. And it wasn't in the last 20 years, so, you know, just saying.
Also, like, it's worth pointing out when he says that he grew up in Birmingham or whatever, it's literally untrue. He grew up in Somerset and in Herefordshire.
Yeah, he went to a posh school on the edge of Wolverhampton and left when he was a young child. Oh, that's another point. Yeah, so, I mean, what was his dad travelling with him up from fucking Somerset to the Villa games that didn't exist against Wolves in the 80s? I don't think so. They have all ended on a dusty shelf. Why? Partly because the fear of our gutless political class to stand up and speak out. They are shameless cowards, more concerned about retaining respectability among the liberal elite. Take the Prime Minister himself. Last night he tweeted his outrage over West Midlands police decision, but last week he denounced me for crossing a red line in discussing integration in Birmingham. He's happy to criticise the police, but runs scared of even acknowledging the big problems we face. Just post the 14 words at this point. It would just be quicker than this, I think.
Literally.
We're nearly through, though, chap. Keir Starmer isn't a bystander. He's the Prime Minister. Well done! The Constitution understander has logged on. What he is what is he actually going to do? Bury his head in the sand when it gets uncomfortable? So I won't be silenced. Yeah, we fucking know, mate. You never shut the fuck up.
Literally, like, I'm being silenced. No, you have a giant fucking megaphone. You're an elected official. Like, you get your account artificially boosted in the Twitter algorithm because Elon Musk is as much of a fucking Nazi cunt as you are. Yes, you're not being silenced.
Yep. Again, don't accuse him of doing far-right cliches. It's terrible. During my speech at the Conservative Party conference last week, I said that, quote, a Britain where our Jewish friends are afraid is not Britain, unquote. I meant it. I mean, again, I will just go back over the litany of anti-Semitism throughout British history. Like, I'm not saying that's good, I'm saying that's a part of British history, and pretending otherwise is ridiculous.
I mean, there was a reason why Zach Polanski's grandparents, I believe it was, changed their name when they came to Britain.
Yeah.
Very specifically because they didn't want to suffer from the anti-Semitism that was plaguing British society at the time. The Balfour Declaration was signed because Arthur Balfour wanted the Jews out of Britain.
Yep. Literally. Also, just on a wider point, if his argument here is that Muslims being involved in football hooliganism means they're not integrated, I would point you to the fact that that means they're about as integrated as it gets. Because football hooliganism is one of our leading national produce. Like we are one of the greatest exporters and indeed consumers of the product, which is football violence. So if Muslims are doing it, it means they have integrated perfectly.
Exactly. It's just like how our Nigerian leaders of the opposition are massive racists. Like they're super fucking integrated.
But she doesn't identify as Nigerian anymore.
True.
Anyway. The same goes for football. A football in which Jewish fans aren't welcome just isn't football. I mean, yeah, but thankfully Jewish fans are fine. Literally, there were Tottenham Hotspur fans with Israel flags. And they're allowed to do that because there isn't a ban on people doing any of those things. If you're a Jewish person, you can still attend football. It's one of the few rights that the government isn't trying to take away from people.
I don't know. Next up, Keith will be just like, if you are found having a second Coca-Cola at Nando's, we will take away your football privileges.
True. What should we do? Send in as many police officers as required. Sack the chief constable if he won't change his mind. Deal with extremist imams in Birmingham who've spent the past few days fomenting hate. What's your evidence for that? What evidence do you have that that's taken place?
Aisha Hazarika found one quote from one person from TikTok that said that they were going to show the Tel Aviv fans no mercy. And that is evident. That anecdote is the same as evidence.
I can guarantee you, if you look on the internet, you will find a lot more threats of violence against visiting fans if you went on and looked at the TikToks made by Liverpool and Manchester United fans ahead of that game today.
Millwall fans, anybody?
Yeah. We must tackle the vile sectarian MPs who have polluted our politics. When you say tackle, they've been elected by the people of the city. What the fuck are you talking about?
Also, as pointed out by Hippie Marshmallow Chat, Shabana Mahmood said that she would literally take away football privilege from people who got convicted of antisocial behaviour offences. So actually, it's not even a joke.
They're literally taking away people's right to go to football. Fucking Christ almighty.
Look, remember when it was a joke, right? Remember when it was all those years ago, and Gordon Brown said that we're gonna boycott playing cricket against Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And I was just like, Robert Mugabe was like, no. How dare you take away my cricket? I already have 2020 tickets. I will stand down.
But the longer-term strategy is harder. 30 years of mass migration has changed our country in ways that we're only beginning to feel. Unintegrated communities just say the N-word. Just say the N-word. That is what you mean. Will continue to be hotbeds of extremism and division. Our country cannot have no-go zones. It cannot have sectarian MPs. I mean, I would argue that you getting in bed with the DUP is far worse in that regard. The time has come for muscular action to make integration a reality.
Okay, well, I mean, the best way of doing so is to have rampaging barbarians fucking up the city from out of town.
Yeah.
That's the best way of integration. Did you see Trevor Phillips literally try and tell Ed Miliband on Sky News that it would breach the Equality Act to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans? Except
it literally wouldn't. Because, I mean, for a start off, we already know that that's the case because Legia Warsaw fans were banned from the same fucking stadium in 2023.
They were indeed.
So that's, I mean, clearly not true. Yeah.
And again, second of all, Trevor Phillips is trying to imply that football hooliganism is a protected characteristic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Knuckle dusters are part of religious apparel. Yeah. Fact. It's like a turban. You can't take it off them. You're denying them their freedom of expression by not allowing them to kick fuck out of the locals. Fact.
Exactly. But it's just because literally Trevor Phillips in his head he thinks Jews. All he thinks of is Jews when he sees Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, right? Because that would literally breach the Equality Act if it was actually as all of the fucking rogues gallery of absolute bellends who've been commenting this from our permanent political class, right? If it was actually a ban on Jews like they say it is, like they pretend that it is, it would absolutely be in breach of the Equality Act.
Yes.
Luckily, it's not doing that.
Yeah. And if they ever did try and implement any such fucking thing, I would be first on the streets to say that this is a fucking outrage and stand with my Jewish football fans. Even Jewish Villa fans, and I hate them because they're Villa fans. And I would still stand with them because that's a fucking outrage. But thankfully, that isn't happening, and they know it isn't happening. They're just lying pricks. And just to Robert Jenrick and all the other people who couldn't give two fucks and look down upon football fans like fetid scum, do one. You don't understand this topic. You're meddling in a way that is very, very fucking dangerous and will lead to unbelievably bad outcomes because regardless of whether this gets overturned or not, there will be violence at that football game. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that anyone should do that. In fact, I'm disgusted by it. But it will happen because Tommy Robinson and his cunts are going to turn up, which is obviously going to mean that there's going to be leftists that turn up and Muslims that turn up to defend the streets that they live on, and there are going to be clashes that the police cannot stop. You have set in train... you set in motion a train that now cannot be stopped otherwise, unless the game gets called off or played at a neutral venue somewhere else. Because violence will now take place. You have assured that, you fucking irresponsible lunatics. Shut up.
I must say, absolute vindication for Ayub Khan and Iqbal Mohammed. Literally being treated like foreign agents, basically, by the other other politicians and the absolute kind of rancid scum that populate our journalist sphere in this country, right? Like the absolute wankers who are trying to calling him obviously a sectarian. They've always been people since the start, literally calling them as like countries with like leaders of countries within a country.
Well,
rancid slurs against.
There was a Tory MP who said he was unintegrated. He got elected into Parliament. What do you mean?
Yeah,
look, how much more integrated can you get than being elected into the mother of all parliaments?
Literally. I also want to say thank you, Riverboat Jack, for the raid. Welcome in all 101 of you. You're through to the No Justice stream. We talk about UK politics from a socialist perspective 6 days a week. If that sounds like your thing, please consider dropping a follow. I'm also here with Kevin Logan. The Milo Yiannopoulos destroyer himself. You can also go and follow.
Milo Yiannopoulos destroyer until the brain cancer that's going to kill him. So
fingers crossed, eh?
That's, apparently he's got a tumour, so, fingers crossed.
Yeah, you're welcoming. Please go and follow us, KF Logan 1875 over at Twitch.
And everyone go and follow Riverboat Jack, who's fucking awesome.
She is absolutely fantastic. You should all go and follow her.
Indeed.
And we are currently covering genuinely the most insane story of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely feel like I've stepped into the Twilight Zone, the story that we're covering. Basically, long story short, Americans who've joined in from the raid, people from a soccer team, from one of the Tel Aviv soccer teams, were coming to the UK to play a British soccer team. And the away fans were banned from travelling to the UK because they have a history of violence and racism, including things like running through Amsterdam chanting death to Arabs and all the children in Gaza are dead, so the schools are closed, and talk about raping the women of their rival team in Tel Aviv. And our entire political class said that it was anti-Semitism to ban them. Because apparently Maccabi Tel Aviv fans represent all Jewish people, according to our permanent political class. And so we're covering the absolute insane deluge of like completely topsy-turvy universe shit that people have been saying.
I mean, all of that, but describing it as soccer is honestly, like, come the revolution, that will be brought before the Central Committee.
I need the Americans to understand what's going on.
Well, they're all against the fucking wall. Doesn't matter. That's against one of the 4 walls of the public housing that they will be given. That's what I mean by that, of course.
Yeah. The latest development is that since the outrage happened, our Prime Minister said that he would override the local police department to try and make sure that the Tel Aviv fans could come to the UK, even though they have a history of running around and causing violence because they're football hooligans. First of all, the Westminster Police have defended their decision. Villa fans have said that the decision should be based on safety and not politics. And the derby in Tel Aviv has had to have been cancelled because of the behaviour of these people. Like, literally, there were 2 news stories by Sky News about these things, like an hour apart. It was hilarious.
Mad shit, yeah. But also, when we say police, we mean the sheriff's deputy. Pew, 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 pew. I'm translating for Americans. Anyway, yes. So, thank you to who was it? Jack Meller for 20 gifties on the YouTube. Much love to you, my friend. I will happily suck all of your cocks. And thank you to BunkyBoy91 who says that YouTube membership reminded me to do that. Well, thank you for subscribing with Prime on the Twitches. Don't forget you can give us both your support on YouTube and Twitch in the form of bits, messages, subs, memberships, and super chats.
You can do all of those things. Absolutely, absolutely. Also, I want to say that during the interview this morning with Ed Miliband, Trevor Phillips asked if Birmingham was a no-go zone for Jews, which must mean, given the new information that's come to light, that Tel Aviv is also a no-go zone for Jews.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Apparently, Israel is now systematically anti-Semitic against its own population.
According to Trevor Phillips.
The former head of the Equalities Commission, Trevor Phillips. Brilliant. We are led by the worst people. Anyway, talking of the worst people, although she's not actually hosting the show this weekend because she's
Actually
a
have a
coward.
good journalist on.
Yeah, she's a coward who didn't want to interview Chad Zach Polanski. So we've got Vicky D. Let's go.
But like an actual journalism may occur. I hope you're all braced for that, Chad.
The Prince, the Planet, and the Path to Peace. Prince Andrew gives up his royal titles, but is it enough?
Oh yeah, apparently there's going to be more revelations, but apparently he sent his publicly funded security guard to find out dirt on the now late Virginia Guthrie. So in other words, like, they definitely had her killed, right?
Wow, it's all a bit doty-fied, isn't it?
A little bit.
The government promises more jobs in green energy, but will that get our bills down? And as President Zelensky praises President Trump for...
Fucking cock put a suit on. Disgusting. Can't believe it. It's an outrage.
Absolute cuck behaviour.
You know what he should have done? The Chad move, turn up in a mankini. Get really disrespectful, you know?
For his Middle East ceasefire. Is there hope for Ukraine too? With us in the studio live today, Ed Miliband, the Energy and Net Zero Secretary, his Conservative opposite number, Claire Coutinho, and Zach Polanski, the Green Party leader of England and Wales.
Absolute Chad. Look at him. Got a little bit of dad pudge. Love it.
Oh, Claire Coutinho is a fucking... She's awful.
She really is, yeah. Indeed so. Oh, yeah, I should explain for maybe people who don't know. Yeah, it is Epstein related, the Prince Andrew thing. But it'll be sort of explained, hopefully, as the show goes on.
Plus, Toby Jones and David Harewood tell me about their new staging of Othello.
No one cares.
After, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for doors to peck at.
This is, by the way, this is the regularly scheduled bit we can skip.
Yes, indeed.
I am not what I am.
Thou dost stone my heart.
And our team at the desk for the next hour this week are Jens Stoltenberg, former NATO Secretary-General, podcaster Emily Maitlis, who did the 2019 Newsnight interview with Prince Andrew, and the broadcaster Adil Ray.
Interesting choice, because not only is he an Aston Villa fan, but literally is a patron of the Aston Villa Foundation, the club's official charity.
Probably why they got him on.
I assume so, yeah.
Also, interesting that they usually have a pretty balanced panel. But the panel today is like a journalist who got famous for leaving the BBC over Brexit coverage, a guy who's like the only pro-Palestine person on the entirety of the morning round, and a member of the Norwegian Labour Party.
Yeah, who's also former head of NATO.
I mean, that is true. That is
so
true.
let's not big him up too much, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's left-wing in terms of the BBC's coverage.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah. No, as far as I'm aware, even as hilarious as it would be, I don't think the Muslim Adil Ray has joined the Jewish Aston Villa Football Club Association thing, because just to put no point, finer point on it, it doesn't actually exist. He made it up. The non-Jewish guy who they said was Jewish but wasn't Jewish made it up because he is literally a bought and paid for shill of Israel. That's not even.
Is he called David Gordstein by any chance?
No. His name was Matthew Fox, I believe.
Well, just so people don't think I'm just making up a random Jewish person's name. There's a backstory to this.
Yes.
So during the quote-unquote anti-Semitism crisis in the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn, somebody posed as a fake. There's a guy called Ewan Phillips, who's not Jewish, made up a fake account under the name David Gordstein. I think it was trolling the Labour Party, something like that, or to.
Stop it.
I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, the anti-Corbyn types would invent fake social media profiles of Jewish people that they could pretend to be to get mad about Jeremy Corbyn. These people are really fucking insane.
Yeah. As friends Rust, who I can confirm actually does work for a football club, because he sent me pictures which prove it absolutely undeniably. It says, I work for a football club and I'm entitled to a half-price season ticket. This season I did not renew mine because of the rise in hooliganism, racism and bigotry. There you go. Thank you for that added context. And Paul Fletcher says, and this is genuinely mental, also Fergie, not Alex Ferguson, the former Manchester United manager, but Fergie as in the former wife of Prince Andrew, said, in one of the papers it has been reported, visited Epstein after he was released, so after he was released for sex trafficking minors, with her 2 daughters.
Incredible. Incredible scenes.
He took his infant children to the home of a released pederast, or pedophile, whatever.
Just you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. Also, I will say it's interesting about the people that the kind of people that we are, Kevin. That when you said Fergie, we had to clarify not the former manager of Manchester United. And in my head, I was like, oh, so it's not the one from the Black Eyed Peas.
No, not that person either. No. Just for clarification, neither Fergie the musician or Fergie the now retired former football manager were involved in any sex trafficking of children.
No.
Just saying. Although, well, neither was she, technically, I suppose. She was saying that her children were put in danger by her ex-husband, which, yeah, clearly that was the case if that happened. Anyway, yes, thank you to Elliot Woman for resubscribing with Prime on the Twitches. Much love. Holy shit. Okay, I'm trying to catch my breath from that revelation. Jesus Christ.
Good morning, hello. Let's start by looking at what's making the news this morning. Almost all of the newspapers today lead on Prince Andrew. The Mail on Sunday reports that Prince Andrew asked his police bodyguard to dig up dirt on his accuser, Virginia Giuffre. The Mirror leads with Virginia's revenge on Andrew, pointing to revelations in her posthumous memoir to be released on Tuesday. The Sun goes with the headline, Andrew axes Fergie's party, revealing that plans for his ex-wife's 66th birthday were canned amid the fallout from the Epstein scandal. And the Observer has a striking image from Prince Andrew's Newsnight interview with Emily Maitlis with one caption, he lied to me about Epstein.
How bad is that? Given how bad that interview was, and he was lying. Like, that wasn't even like the full truth of it or anything. Even if the things he had said were true, he should still be in jail.
Oh yeah,
100%. and yet now it's like, it's ridiculous. They definitely murdered that woman, by the way. You cannot convince me otherwise. Call me a conspiracy theorist all you like. They definitely killed her. It'll come out. It always does. It might take 30 or 40 years, but it will come out.
Of course, following the news last week that Andrew corresponded with the convicted paedophile months after he claimed he had broken all contact off with him. And bucking the trend of the rest of the papers, The Independent on Sunday.
Member of the aristocracy lying? I can't believe it. Next you'll be telling me the former director of public prosecutions had lied.
Well, that would never happen. So we don't need to worry about that.
Leads with Ukraine can't beat Russia, warns top army chief with a warning that Ukraine cannot win over Russia without NATO forces committing to...
Which we told you 3 fucking years ago. Now, to be fair, I'm surprised they've even been able to hold them, but they were never going to be able to outdo them. As long as he keeps pouring in, like, Russian lives to act as fucking cannon fodder, you're not going to be able to take it's a bottomless pit. Of course it's not going to you're not going to take it back. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong, I support the Ukrainians and I want them to get back every square inch of land and all the rest of it, but I don't realistically see how that can happen.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that the Ukrainian strategy was essentially how long can we not lose for the time for the Russian economy to go kaput? Like, that was the real kind of tension here. Not can we win on the battlefield, which was never going to be true.
But unfortunately, I mean, the West as well. But India and Russia went, India and China went, we'll just buy that Russian shit instead. So it just hasn't really affected them that badly. It's not been good. It's been bad for their economy, but it really hasn't been ruinous at all. The only chance you have is if anyone rises up against Putin at any point, or if Putin eventually dies. But, I mean, How long does that fucking take? I don't know.
Join the fight. Lots to talk about with our panel this morning. On Prince Andrew, Emily, it feels like another hugely significant moment for the royal family.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Jens Stoltenberg's take on this. It's going to be fantastic. This is what I'm watching for.
I mean, it is crazy that they managed to get the former Secretary General of NATO and current Norwegian Labour Party politician go, yeah, do you want to just travel to the UK so you can hang out on a panel for a crappy Sunday morning show?
Along with a guy who does the fucking word game puzzle thing on ITV at 1 p.m.
And a woman with a podcast.
Podcast! Oh, podcast! Imagine that. You work your bollocks off. You get up to become one of the most powerful people in the world, the head of NATO, and then you get to sit next to a podcast host.
That's true. Also, thank you, Dr. Rapperban, for the 5 gifties, and thank you, Jack Miller, for the 20 gifties.
True. Also, just for clarification's sake, fuck NATO. But, it is funny.
Also, apparently there's like 350 people watching on my YouTube. That's fucking crazy. Did we get raid or something? Either way, if you're watching and you're one of the and you're someone who doesn't usually watch, welcome. You're probably here because I have Zach Polanski in the title of my video. Make sure you join the Green Party and make sure you join Greens Organise.
Well,
so that you can get involved.
Unless you came in, unless Riverboat Jack was the reason that you're here. Maybe she raided into you on YouTube as well. I don't know. If so, and you're an American, don't join that Green Party.
No.
Because that Green Party is, how do I put this nicely? A flaming dog shit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, make sure you join the Green Party and join Greens Organise. Greensorganise.uk.
God,
get involved.
I did feel very, very old today. I know I'm fucking rambling now, but I think I bookmarked it. It's lovely, right, in a way, but it did make me feel supremely old. So Chloe is the head of the youth wing of the Green Party, or whatever, executive of Young Green Party.
On the executive, yeah.
Yeah. And she says, to anyone under 30 who's recently joined the Green Party, I'm making a video featuring new members for the Young Green social media to celebrate. If anyone would like to be interested, DM me, blah, 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 10-second clip. And I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And then I thought, but you're not under 30, Kev.
You're 35, right?
I'm 38.
38? Well, yeah, I'm 34 as well. So I do feel and act like a child. That's the problem.
But as soon as I thought, oh yeah, because I've just joined the Green Party, I could do that. And then, no, Kev. 10 years ago, you'd have just made the cut.
Also, someone in chat asking what Greens Organise is. We're an internal grouping in the Green Party that wants to make it, which wants to push the kind of more anti-capitalist, socialist end of the Green Party to make us a more radical left-wing mass membership movement.
So
we support, for example, that's why we supported Zach Polanski in the leadership contest.
Yeah. No, hang on, is that right? No.
You think Andrew renouncing his titles voluntarily will achieve what the palace wants? Is it enough?
Feels like it's been a long time coming, this. I mean, the interview was done nearly 6 years ago. And in the weeks and months after it, he relinquished a lot of his royal duties, a lot of his public duties, a lot of his charities, his patronages. And yet there has been this sort of drip, drip effect, and we've all had to follow. Will he be at Sandringham? Will he be with the family for Christmas? Will he be allowed at the coronation or the Jubilee, whatever it is? And in a way, I think this was an inevitable place that the palace was going to end up at. I mean, pretty soon after, we realised the ramifications from what he said. So, yes, I mean, I think 6 years has been quite a long time.
I don't even think it's about what he said. It's what he did. He's a fucking rapist. He was yum friends, dare I say, to quote a certain other friend of Jeffrey Epstein, of the pederast, who went to visit him to ask for a loan from a convicted child sex trafficker.
But no, but he's up until yesterday But yesterday, we were but commoners in comparison to him, Kevin.
Literally.
Time to wait for this in a way.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about Prince Andrew a little later in the programme. But Adam, what is your take this morning?
Well, I think, you speak to people at home, I think they'll feel that it's clearly not enough, really. And you've got to remember, the heart of this are victims, potentially thousands of young girls.
Prison is the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would be appropriate. Apparently, the Met Police, having failed to catch the obvious criminal last time, are re-investigating the new claims and such. And I'm sure they'll find nothing because they don't want to find anything, obviously. Because that's how you end up dying in a tunnel.
We think maybe
Also,
30 to 50 other paedophiles.
Thank you, Jay, for the £20 super chat. That's incredibly generous. And for becoming a member too. Thank you very much for joining the stream today.
Yeah.
Now, this is now a story about whether the prince should drop his titles. That's not the story here. And really, I think if he's innocent, and he says he is, then why not testify? And a lot of victims will be saying, testify in court, you are a key witness to some incidents, and at least help the victims that...
No, he's not. Whoa, he's not. I mean, technically the perpetrator is a witness. Yeah, they did actually see the thing take place. That's not, but it's not that he could help assist. Like, it's that thing where they go, oh, such and such a person is assisting the authorities with their investigation. No, you are questioning them because you think they did it. That's what's happening here. He is a witness in that he did the fucking crimes.
Literally, and as pointed out by Chloe in chat, like the UK taxpayer fucking paid off the victim.
The Queen, the late Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, again, W's in chat for Liz Truss on that one. Incredible stuff. Thank you, chat. My chat is so wonderful. Someone asked, "Who's this bellend?" and one of my regulars replied, "Kevin Logan."
Thank you, Geometry, for the 20 gifties. And what I will say, I wonder if, given the sweating excuse that was the failed last time, do you think that Prince Andrew can pull the men's mental health card excuse like Christian Calgi did today?
I did see that. Yeah, I'm sorry that I racially abused you. Well, I'm gonna step back. Unfortunately, my seasonal depression occasionally leads me to just like randomly spout off racist nonsense on Twitter. But yeah, because I'm mentally ill, you can't criticise me. See ya.
What is obvious is that Christian Calgi is just entirely enveloped into the kind of the alt-right sectors of society. Because he was talking about like the UK thing, that meme that's basically just like a fashy meme at this point.
Yes.
And he literally openly talking about like mass deportations of people like Zara, and then just said, and also including Zara herself, because the guy is a fucking fashy twat.
And I imagine that maybe someone's lawyers contacted him and said, you should probably apologise for that, actually. Maybe his employer, maybe Zara Sultana, who knows? But someone reached out to him and said, no, you better fucking take that shit back.
Like, it had to be bad, because Bridget Phillipson came out and defended Zara Sultana. I guess because she needs to win over the minds of the Labour Party membership.
Yeah.
Probably still quite like Zara.
Yeah, probably. Because again, the Labour Party is still its membership are significantly to the left of the actual party. Still, somehow.
I mean, yeah. Well, you literally look at the people they actually like within the cabinet, and it is Angela Rayner and Miliband. Like Miliband being like the only sensible person in government left.
If only he hadn't eaten a sandwich, weirdly.
That want some kind of justice, and I think that's the story.
Jens Stoltenberg, I want to ask you about the meeting between President Trump and Zelensky on Friday. But actually, because of what President Trump seems to have achieved...
Why would you invite this man on and not ask him about the nonce? I wanted to hear what he had to say.
So far in Gaza with that ceasefire. Do you have any optimism that he can pull off the same thing in Ukraine?
I believe it's possible to end the war in Ukraine, and to do so, we, the West, the NATO, and the US, we have to talk to Russia. But we know that what happens around the negotiating table is very closely linked to what happens at the battlefield. So as long as Putin believes that he can win the war, win on the battlefield, he will not sit down and negotiate a lasting peace for Ukraine. Zelensky has made it clear that he's ready to agree to a ceasefire. The problem is that
he was ready for that in March.
Yeah, the problem is that Putin has not agreed, and that's because he still believes that he can win. Therefore, we need to support Ukraine with weapons, with military aid, to change Putin's calculus on whether he can.
Okay, I mean, I've got no problem with continuing, but like, how long for? How long does this fucking go on for? You know, you don't like. You realise it's not an endless fucking money pit. The West isn't just going to fund this forever. Like, it's at some point this war does have to stop. It can't carry on for literally ever.
Yeah, I mean the thing that's why what's been screwed up is just how piecemeal, especially the AD's been like trying to get through like U.S. Congress and shit. Was if they just kept up like high level military aid for like an actual higher levels rather than all the money they're busy giving to fucking Israel for no reason, then we wouldn't be in this position, right? Because as been, I think Stoltenberg is fundamentally correct here, which is that we all want a negotiation, we all want a ceasefire, we all want peace, and that won't happen if Putin thinks that it's an easy win,
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, you go in. It's, I mean, not to make it too Brexit heavy. I'm not a Lib Dem or anything, but it's a little bit like claiming you have all the cards in your hand and then you turn up and you've got a piece of paper.
You're David Davis, yeah.
Yeah, you've got nothing. When you bluffing works on the assumption that your opponent thinks you might have something. When he knows you don't, it's not bluffing. It's just easily exposed lying. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Yes. Speaking of which, by the way, for the Israel, I wonder if we're going to get talk about how Israel has broken the ceasefire multiple times on this show, on the BBC. Probably not.
Well, even Gershon Baskin is calling it a breaking of the ceasefire, so it's serious.
Yeah. Also, but apparently Israel have said that they're going to go back to the ceasefire now, which, I mean, that's like saying you're gonna fucking quit smoking in between cigarettes. That's not that's not a ceasefire. You can't bomb and then say we're on a ceasefire and then bomb and then no. That's just the same, but with extra press releases.
Yeah, otherwise we would have had we have had a ceasefire for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because there were some points where bombs weren't falling.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Win or not.
Okay, so we'll talk about the lack of Tomahawk missiles perhaps a little later. Thank you for the moment. We'll be back with you very soon. Now, for nearly 20 years, the main UK parties agreed on one thing, that we should switch from fossil fuels to greener forms of energy and aim for net zero carbon emissions by 2050. No more polluting gases entering the atmosphere than we can remove. When Labour came into power, they went even further. They turned the whole electricity grid green by 2030 and promised all of our energy bills would come down. But now the political consensus is shattering with the Conservatives, saying that the 2050 target, which they set in motion, is impossible to reach. So let's hear first from Ed Miliband, the Energy and Net Zero Secretary.
It's worth pointing out, right, when she says the political consensus has been shattered, it's literally just because donors to the Conservative Party, I mean, actually, it's not even that. It's not even donors. They're just chasing the tail of reform, who are paid off by oil barons to an even greater extent than the Tories are, going, well, reform say this, and we have to do whatever reform says because we can't lose voters to reform. So we're going to pretend that we'd hate clean energy as well, when fucking overwhelmingly in this country, even Reform UK supporters think that climate change is a concern.
Yeah.
And that moving to a cleaner form of power is good, right? There is no base for this. Sorry. Here comes. There is literally no base for this anti-net zero quackery shit. In the same way that's what the Australian Liberal Party is trying to do, trying to go all anti-net zero, and all it's done is lose them votes, you know?
But have you thought about the phrase net stupid zero? It's a very convincing argument for nobody.
I mean, yeah, I'm totally convinced that that trying to save the planet from destruction is stupid.
Well, good. Vote reform. Jesus Christ. By the way, is Mad Cat Scotty in chat yet at all? Because I was paid yesterday $2 to wear a Celtic top today. In chat, right? Which is fine, except the only one I could find was one that, let's say, I used to wear when I was a little thinner. And this one, honestly, is skin tight on me now. And I've worn it nonetheless, but I would like to take it off at some point because I like breathing. So if someone can alert me if they get into chat at some point and tell me. So I can say, I fulfilled my pledge, now I'm going to put a different shirt on.
Secretary. Welcome to the programme.
Thanks so much for having me.
We're going to come to your brief in a moment. I want to ask about Prince Andrew first of all. He's been forced to announce he's relinquished some of his titles. Is that enough?
Well, look, these are deeply concerning allegations that we are seeing in the papers, and I think all of our thoughts will be with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. I think that the right thing as a government...
Were your thoughts with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein when you were okay with the appointment of his yum-yum friend?
His best pal, indeed.
Didn't seem to have a problem with that, being the same governing structure as one of the main perpetrators there. No?
I mean, this is what Wes Streeting did when this was a scandal. He said, well, we need to think about the victims. The victims have told you to sack Peter Mandelson. Why is he still there?
Yeah.
Government ministers say this is a matter for the royal family. I think it's the right thing that... I think so.
No, it isn't. It's a matter for the police. It's a matter for the courts. He needs to be in jail. In what other circumstance would you go, well, look, there is this nonce, but it's clearly an internal matter for the Robinsons of Hull or whoever. No, that's never okay. What?
I mean, I'll tell you one situation where that is how that works.
Go on.
Israel.
Well, yeah, literally. Yeah.
We've allowed them to investigate themselves, and they've said that they've done nothing wrong, and they're quite frankly brilliant, and can't believe they were ever asked to impugn their integrity.
Yeah, what's that? They've literally abducted people from the high seas, like fucking Long John Silver. Well, that's clearly just an internal Israeli matter.
It's right that Prince Andrew has relinquished his titles. I think the royal family will have to make its own decisions about sort of what, if anything, what other steps might be taken. But I think it is a matter for them.
Officially,
Cock!
though, he will still retain the dukedom. It could be removed by an act of Parliament. Would you support legislation?
We are honest. This country is so shit. We're like something from a horrible, shitty fairy tale. Oh, the pedo prince in the dukedom.
In the words of Doug Stanhope, is this a country or a Renaissance festival?
Exactly.
Oh dear, I seem to have spotted a cunt.
To do that?
We're going to be guided by the royal family and His Majesty the King on this. I think.
Level.
You know the only way to solve it? A jousting tournament.
Yes, let's go.
Would you support legislation to remove his dukedom?
I think it's right that he's relinquished.
He said it again.
You're evading my question.
No, I'm not evading my question.
Would you support any legislation?
I think we'll be guided by the royal family on this as to whether... I think the royal family have said that they didn't want to take up parliamentary time with this. There are lots of other things that Parliament is discussing. I think it's right he's given up his titles.
Lord Mandelson was sacked by Keir Starmer as ambassador to Washington because of his friendship with...
Yum-yum friendship, please. And secondly, you can tell they've got an actual journalist in this week. Because that's a legitimate way of processing that discussion. You've said, well, you're not answering the question, and then gone on to point out the obvious glaring thing that he's also compromised by all of this.
Wow, imagine if we got this level of journalism every week. Might win some awards.
Crazy! Thank you, Sozzled Snake, with 200 bitty bits, and that message, which I won't repeat.
Jeffrey Epstein. Would you support legislation to strip him of his peerage?
Peter Mandelson's is taking a leave of absence from the House of Lords, and I think that's the right thing to do. And I think it was right.
Kick him out! Get rid of him!
Yeah.
When those emails and communications were received, I think these disciplinary matters will be taken care of by the whips.
Okay.
You are literally a cock. You're just a cock. You're an embarrassment, Ed Miliband.
There are more allegations today. The Mail on Sunday is reporting that Prince Andrew asked his Met Police bodyguard to dig up information on Virginia Giuffre. Do you think there should be an investigation into whether they followed his orders?
Well, these are deeply concerning allegations. I think people want...
What the fuck? So the other allegations aren't? The thing that he's a nonce? That's not really that serious. It's an internal family matter. But the misappropriation of public funds is the bigger problem. Oh god! That's what annoyed me when they're having these emergency meetings about Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. Was on the same day that it was announced that child homelessness had increased by 8% since Labour took over to a record high. There were no emergency meetings in Whitehall about that particular thing, though. Gives you some indication as to the priorities. You know?
Well, indeed, because Keir Starmer is quite literally PM fuck them kids.
Well, in both literal and figurative sense, yes. By the
I
appointment of Mandelson, yeah.
It's literally just, honestly, this government, it never finds, it continually finds ways to surprise me in the level to which they are detestable.
Yeah, they're wrong about everything, basically, at this point, I think.
To look at those allegations and what the substance is behind them, but obviously that if that is correct, that is absolutely not the way that close protection officers should be used. So I was really, really concerned to hear about those allegations. Obviously, I think that these are very, very concerning allegations.
Prince Andrew says he vigorously denies the allegations against him by Virginia Giuffre. Do you believe her, or do you believe him?
Look, I think my starting point is always with the victims. And I think for the family.
Can someone reset Millibot, please? He seems to be malfunctioning and just going back to the start of his script again. Fuck me.
Reminds me of that time when there was industrial action in 2014 and the run up to the election in 2015, where he said the strikes are wrong when negotiations are still going on about fucking 16 times.
Yeah, unbelievable shit. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, someone's posted and this is a real product apparently, La Guillotine, which is a tiny sausage cutter. It's a little sausage slicer. Well, clearly you're a fan of charcuterie and nothing else from that particular link you've sent me. Thank you, everybody. Just a fan of breakfast meats.
Ray, and obviously for her when she was alive, I think this has been a horrendous, and is still a horrendous time for her family. Seeing all of this, having it all sort of continuing to be a subject of public debate. So I think what we've learned...
the real problem is that we're talking about it, yeah. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it would be very convenient for the government if we shut up, wouldn't it?
It would be. You think of the victims, they definitely want you to shut up and not do anything more. Honest. You are fucking trash. And he's like the best person still left in the cabinet. It's fucking mind-blowing.
Over the years, Victoria, is that in these matters, we have to start with a focus on the victims. And take...
Okay, and they have called for you to investigate and prosecute Prince Andrew for his crimes. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, take into account what the victims want. Yeah.
Please do.
The victims seriously, because for so long victims of these kind of allegations weren't taken seriously.
You are here.
Whereas now they're just ignored, which is much better.
Talk about a plan. You've got to create jobs in the clean energy sector. I'm going to specifically ask about those jobs in a moment or two. Can we talk about bills first? Because they are such a source of stress, energy bills, for so many households. Have a look at this research from More in Common. Most people think your main job as Energy Secretary should be getting bills down. It's the #1 priority for people when they're
right. Who the fuck are the 42% who didn't answer that? Like...
People who have shares in energy companies?
That's not 42% of the country, surely. That's mad. Because it's so expensive. I think last winter I only put the heating on like twice because it's too expensive. Now I'm young enough that I didn't freeze to death. Yippee! But like that's not the case for everyone.
Questioned. Okay, well before the election you promised energy bills would fall by 300 quid by 2030. Everyone's bills are going up. Are you standing by that promise?
Bills are too high, and we stand by our promise to get bills down by up to £300 by 2030. And look,
they won't. I mean, for a start off, you're going to be out of office by then.
For the Labour Party, a bacon sandwich or Emma Thornberry's breast.
I mean, again, it depends. The problem is, of course, is that they're trying to rely on a bunch of private capital to do it that may or may not invest, right? I literally said before the election, I was very clearly, my main criticism of all of these plans were they are banking on we'll just be able to magic private sector investment and FDI like out of the fucking ether, and that's what we're going to bet the house on.
Yeah.
Right?
Indeed.
And if it doesn't come out, if it doesn't materialise, they have no fucking plan, because they've cut back on the £28 billion investment pledge that they promised they would have before it was being stood down in like January 2024 or whatever it was.
That's a very weird question, Elliot. Thank you for the bits, but Kev, what's been worse for the Labour Party, a bacon sandwich or Emily Thornberry's breasts?
Well, there was a moment in 2017 where Jeremy Corbyn high-fived Emily Thornberry in the tit.
I know, it was very funny. I play it regularly. But I don't think that's why he lost. And I don't actually think the bacon sandwich is why Ed Miliband lost either. They're just two funny memes. Yeah. They're just two, funny memes. And it was funny. He slapped Emily Thornberry in the tit, and then they both had to pretend like that didn't happen. Like we didn't just see that happen. It was fucking brilliant. Honestly, they've both got a future in Hollywood, if nothing else, because they styled it out beautifully.
At the very least, they didn't end up saying "Return of the Sausages."
No, that's true. They didn't say that. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, anti-Semitic. Comparing Jewish people to a pork product, you're out of order, mate.
Reason why bills are so high, Victoria, and this is really, really important, is because of our dependence on fossil fuels. The gas price is still 75% higher than it was before Russia invaded Ukraine. And there is only one route to get bills down, which is to go for clean power, homegrown, clean energy that we control, so we're not at the behest of the petrostates and the dictators.
You can tell how into the previous topics he wasn't by the fact that he was sat back and just going through the motions. Whereas now look how animated he is. Now he's talking about a thing he likes and is interested in.
Well, it's true. I mean, again, I read a lot of his plans in the election, and they were good. They were good plans. They just relied on Rachel Reeves not having very tight purse strings, which she seems to have even tighter than the idea of what they were going to be before the fucking election.
Is it as tight as the Bob? Because that's tight.
That was the plan we fashioned in opposition. That is the plan I'm working on. And I know my responsibilities.
Right, okay, because when you promised people bills would come down by 2030, you didn't tell people, but they're going to go up first, did you? So you can see why people might be sceptical about it.
Well, look, we don't control the gas price, and that's the problem. You see,
don't. That is very true. That is very true.
And you see, we are subject to these international markets, and so many people are still suffering.
Look, he's clearly thinking about her tits as well. It's out of order. Sorry,
now,
his hands. I'm doing a joke.
But also from what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine, and bills went absolutely through the roof.
And they have come. The wholesale prices have come down a lot since the peak in 2022.
But still higher.
Can you have a look at this standard electricity bill? And this shows our audience how their bill is made up.
Not
and we can
all
see the wholesale
sausages are
cost
pork,
there.
right?
That's the big green bit. But you, the government, are in control of the...
Thank you, James. Yes, technically not all sausages are pork. Sausages merely look the kind of shape, I suppose. But when you think of a sausage, you think of a pork sausage.
What's interesting is that I found out that most hot dogs in America are made of beef. It's weird.
America's fucking mental.
Like, if you go to Costco, it's a beef hot dog.
That's disgusting. You're fucking wrong. Honestly, between that and the murdering all your kids at school, what's wrong with you, America? Sort yourself out.
Two blue triangles, the policy cost, the turquoise colour, and VAT, obviously the navy colour. And the policy costs include the green levies that you add to bills and the social schemes that you add to bills. Together they make up about 20%. So you have control over those bits. So it is your choice to keep bills.
But also, I like that none of it is profit, apparently. Profit to private businesses doesn't factor into this.
Well, that was the point that was made by Ash Sarkar on Question Time, and Ellie Chowns in the House of Commons as well. Both made the point that 20% of the fucking bill is shareholder dividends paid out to energy companies.
Yeah. So this graph is what we like to call in the business bullshit.
As high as they are, that is correct, isn't it?
No, I don't think that is correct.
Why not? Because you're in control of those two blue bits.
I think maybe the point you're making, which is a fair point, is we've always got to look at the balance between public expenditure and levies. Because, look, we've got to build this network somehow. We've got an ageing electricity infrastructure.
When he says levies, does he mean Levi's? And is he being anti-Semitic by mispronouncing that surname?
I mean, you can actually pronounce it. It pronounced levy in some places. I know that it's that's there was a South African cricketer. It's like famous, like T20, and I always thought it was Levi, but it was actually pronounced levy. But I'm not sure why.
I was only doing a joke anyway, but thank you for that clarification. David Baddiel can stand down. Apparently, it wasn't a mispronunciation, so he doesn't need to produce another book.
Whether you go for fossil fuels or green energy, you've got to build this infrastructure because we've got growing electricity demand, AI, all of those things. Now, so we've got to build that infrastructure. Now, we are always, as a government, looking at what's the right balance between public expenditure and levies. For example, I'll give you an example. Sizewell C, big nuclear power station, creating lots of jobs. We're funding it, we're helping get the cost down through public expenditure by investing in it.
Right.
But so we're always looking at that balance.
Okay. But you've made a choice then, haven't you, to keep that on bills, to fund it through people's bills.
Yeah, and we face very difficult fiscal circumstances. But if what you're saying to me, Victoria, is it's our job to get bills down, we have a plan to do that, and in the meantime, we're helping people. Let me give you an example. This winter, 3 million additional families.
I think obviously it's an interesting line of questioning, and it's always good to have these people scrutiny. But fundamentally, I think Ed is right here. You know, like we do need to ensure that we are increasing the investment in the network, and that should come through the people who use the network and being able to invest in it. But all of this would be so much more palatable if huge chunks of what money was going into to upgrade the network was going to be for assets that we didn't even own. Like I would be fine paying the fact that I pay for network costs and upgrade costs as part of my bill, the policies that the government has, if that was going back into reinvesting in the infrastructure. If that infrastructure I owned, because then I'd just be paying for something that was part of the assets that the public owned collectively, but we don't. That money is going to pockets of private companies who own the fucking infrastructure. That's the issue here, and I think most people would have that problem.
Exactly, always was the case with nationalised industries, that even when the prices were a little bit steep, people were like, well, at least it's being, reintroduced to the system for the best of all the people. Like there was a pride in, not only will I not wreck this train, but the fact that I'm having to pay slightly more than I want to for the train means at least the train system is being upkept for the good of the nation, rather than just for, Richard Branson.
Yeah, and any profit that gets made goes back into the treasury to be able to be spent on other things,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Will get the Warm Homes discount, £150 off their bills. In the old world, there were families who were really in terrible fuel poverty who weren't getting help. We've extended the help to them. So it's not just saying wait for 2030. I know that my job is to do everything we can to get bills down in the meantime.
Right, OK. But do you think it will be another 5 years before we see the fruits of your...
Yeah, by the way, here's someone pointing out in chat that the majority of Sizewell C is owned by foreigners. 45% is owned by Le Casse, which I presume is French, and EDF, which is 13%, which is definitely French.
Yes, indeed. State-owned, 100% state-owned. Even Neolib King, right, the monarch of the Neolibs, Emmanuel Macron, decided to spend public money to nationalise the remainder of EDF.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that other countries' governments can own our critical infrastructure.
Imagine that, we're more cocked than Macron. Oh God, that feels worse than finding out I'm not in the under 30s club anymore. It's that bad.
It's like Keir Starmer is to the right of Joe Biden. Like this is how fucked our country is.
Literally. Oh my God.
Every solar panel we put up, every wind turbine we build, helps to get us off fossil fuels and onto clean energy.
But is it going to be 5 years? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to try and do it as soon as possible. I know my responsibilities.
OK. And is the government considering scrapping 5% VAT on energy bills at the budget?
I mean, I'm sort of old enough and wise enough to know I
Oh, Jesus Christ, mate. Like, Reform are going to win, so it's terrible, but these cunts need to lose. They have to lose. They have to be punished in a seismic generational way. This can't be allowed to continue. Even the best member of the cabinet is a bullshitter supporting a genocide who doesn't give a fuck about the one thing he was supposed to do, which was make energy cheaper and cleaner. Fuck off then. What good are you? Who are you serving? Who's benefiting from your existence?
And again, it would have been super easy to make this claim if you just said, we have this money, the government is spending this much money building things that are owned by the government to make the bills lower, right? Super easy could have done that. And yet, because so much of it is entirely hinging on, does the private sector invest or not, fingers crossed, keep raising the strike price, I guess, until the private companies like Ørsted or places like that want to invest. Well, I guess once you've risen the price of these auctions for contracts for private companies, it'll get to the point where it's no longer cheaper than oil and gas anyway, and we won't be able to bring bills down. That again, fundamentally, I don't think is necessarily Ed Miliband's fault. It's Rachel Reeves' fault.
Yeah, we're literally just in the cuck chair as foreign entities and fucking asset stripping shithouse capitalists fuck our wives in front of us.
Literally.
That's literally happening right now. And our government are like, oh, can I clean the sweat from your balls, please, Mr. Bull?
Speculate on the Chancellor's budget.
Right. But you're saying that with a smile on your face. So did viewers take anything from that or not?
I'm saying it because the whole of the government, including the Chancellor, understands that we face an affordability crisis in this country. We face a cost of living crisis, a long-standing cost of living crisis that we need to address as a government.
Okay.
We also face difficult fiscal circumstances. Let me just make this point.
Pause.
And so, obviously, we're looking at all of these issues.
I do think it's interesting that he said affordability crisis and then had to correct himself to say, oh, we call it a cost of living crisis. Someone's been watching Zohran Mamdani. Ooh. I think someone's been trying to pick up on the things, because Zohran Mamdani says affordability crisis the whole time, right?
True.
And Ed Miliband is the one that the one member of the government that seems to understand how short form video content works, because his TikToks are actually quite endearing, I think. Which means I'm assuming is because he's been watching Mamdani for inspiration.
Well, maybe he also thinks we need to globalise the Intifada.
Yes, let's fucking go.
Sorry for that anti-Semitism in chat, everyone. That's terrible.
Right. I just want to make one more point about the cost of people's energy bills, because the major suppliers, EDF, E.ON, Centrica, Octopus, they are clear that the green levies that you put on people's bills are partly to blame for rising energy bills.
This is how you get... Look, come on now. Your profit margin is not the reason, no? No?
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that, of course, they were going to blame literally anything other than the money that they want to give to their shareholders, right? And this is the problem: is that because you're essentially answering to private companies who literally have you on a leash as a government, right? You are out there, you are out there with the begging bowl to the private companies. They can fuck you. Like, they can literally... There was a select committee, there was an energy select committee where they were saying, they've got the bosses of all the energy companies, scrutinised by Meg Hillier, whoever it was, as the chair of the committee, going, well, that's all of these extra costs the government do, that's the big problem. And I'm just like, no, wait, hang on a minute, what's your profit margin? What's your fucking margins, Centrica?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Imagine if we owned this stuff, and then Ed Miliband can go, well, first of all, it means Ed Miliband couldn't palm things off onto private companies, and they could just go like, yeah, like we will not have any profit, and we'll save loads of money.
True. Good question. Does Ed Miliband denounce Hassan Piker? It's a good question.
True. Shocks his dog.
And one energy boss said this week that would be part of adding 300 quid to a typical bill over the next 5 years, which is the exact opposite of what you promised.
I don't think that's quite what they're saying. Look, it goes back to my point.
I'll quote you Rachel Fletcher from May. She's the
literally I've seen what she said.
If we continue on the path we're on right now, in all likelihood, electricity prices for a typical customer are going to be 20% higher in 4 or 5 years' time than they are now, and that's even if wholesale prices halve. So we support the decarbonisation of electricity, but the non-commodity costs, the costs we've just been talking about, are adding about £300 worth of pressure onto a typical bill.
This is sort of characteristically nerdy, but very, very important. What Rachel Fletcher said there was wholesale costs, even if they halve. Here's a really important point. The reason why going to clean energy is the way to get bills down for good is it's so much cheaper to run let me just make this point, the wholesale costs. But Rachel Fletcher is right. There's a cost to building that network. Now, my job is to make sure the fruits of those lower wholesale costs that she's talking about get through to the customers, and we bear down on the costs of building that network. And I've said to you very clearly in this interview, Victoria, that I know my job, which is to get bills down by 2030.
OK. Does it have to come off our energy bills? Could it not come from other elements of taxation?
Well, that's
like the rich.
That's always a judgment for the Chancellor. But let's be honest,
Stop being a communist.
We've got really
outrageous
difficult fiscal circumstances that we inherit.
Do you know that's anti-Semitism, right? Remember that.
I think it's interesting. It is important to understand. That's why he keeps saying, "Well, it's up to the Chancellor." 'Cause again, the Chancellor and her chief bean counter are the ones who essentially get to decide whether Ed Miliband's plans live or die. Because they get to which way does Caesar Reeves's thumb point?
True.
Okay. And so, but absolutely, we look at those things.
Right. Do you think she's looking at that between now and the budget?
She looks at all of these issues, and look, you know,
she sees all things.
Big time in clean energy. We'll perhaps come on to that about our jobs plan. Big time in clean energy, the biggest investment in clean energy in our history.
Now, you just approved the construction of a massive solar farm in Lincolnshire, the Tilbridge Solar Project. It will cover 3,000 acres. Some in the communities around that area are unhappy because it will change their community for good. Okay, you say you understand that. How fair is it to them then?
Well, let's go back to the previous bit of this conversation. I mean, how are we going to get bills down? How are we going to get off these fossil fuels, this roller coaster of fossil fuel prices, which has done such damage, without building?
So
we are going to have to build. Well, I don't. That sounds a bit callous. It's not tough. Communities have to have their say, but solar is the cheapest. It's the cheapest form of technology we have, the cheapest power source at our disposal. So I'm not going to go around saying we're going to have some blanket ban on the thing that can actually get bills down for people. Look, this is the trade-offs of government, but I think the right thing to do is to build this.
Right. Firstly, thank you, Larry Levan, for becoming a member. But also, I am going to have to take this fucking t-shirt off. So I'm going to be incommunicado for a couple of seconds.
What I was just going to make a point about what was being said there is that, I mean, the trade-off here is, do we lower the bills for basically everybody in the country by increasing our supply of clean power? Supply goes up, cost comes down. If we don't have to deal with the marginal price of gas setting the price, then that will bring bills down, etc., 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 right? And that is a trade-off with the house prices of NIMBYs in the Shires. That is fundamentally the argument that's being made. Oh, there's a trade-off here. And I'm like, yes, the NIMBYs in the Shires should put up with some solar panels somewhere near their house.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone else has to put up with fucking infrastructure. So do they. It's it's the Ray Fiennes thing. Like, you want electricity, but you don't want an electricity substation. Well, I'm sorry, that's not how it fucking works. We're building on top of your fucking bedroom, you prick. Anyway. Yes, I'm back, everyone. I can now breathe.
Well, we'll turn Ray Fiennes' entire estate into one solar farm.
Yes. And everywhere he goes, we just start building new solar farms.
Clean energy for the future. It's the right thing for bills and the right thing for jobs too.
Let's talk about the jobs then. You've got a plan to create, you say, 400,000 new jobs in green energy, doubling the 440,000 you say already work in the sector. Wind farms and solar farms, having read into this, are not that labour intensive. Only about 55,000 work in the wind sector, for example. How on earth do you get to 400,000 green jobs?
Well, it's all set out in our plan, but let me just give you some...
Where's it come from?
Sizewell C, we just talked about it earlier. 10,000 extra jobs, 10,000 construction jobs from building Sizewell C, thousands of jobs from constructing all of these offshore wind turbines. Look, massive construction opportunities, but we don't just want construction jobs. They're important. We also want to make sure that we build our supply chains in Britain. We've got a new cable factory opening in Scotland. We've got the Siemens wind turbine factory in Hull, which is...
He said Seaman. He did. I heard him.
He did say that.
And the reason this plan's so important, Victoria, is it answers a question that so many of your viewers will have, which is, where are the good jobs of today? What job is my son or daughter going to do in the future?
Hell yes, I'm talking
This is the answer. 400,000 jobs across our country. Not a target. This is our prediction of what we need, what we're going to need to meet our clean energy plans. And it goes to what I think the purpose of our government is, which is to change our economy so it doesn't just work for the richest in our society, but it works for everyone again.
Right. How did you get to 400,000, though?
It's granular, piece by piece, looking at 31 different occupations. And it's jobs for plumbers, for construction workers, for welders.
Right. They're green jobs. They're counted as green jobs.
Well, absolutely, if it's building the green infrastructure, the clean energy infrastructure.
What kind of a question? Question was that?
Is there a mould in that studio that means that journalists turn into dickheads? Because that was very much like she was channeling Laura there. Laura was in the room spiritually during that question, I feel. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
They
Building green power. Is that a green job? Yes. If it's a part of
Yeah.
green.
Yeah, the people who have to weld things in the solar panel fucking farms. Yes, that's a green job. Oh, God. The media class are dickheads. Because, again, Vicky D's one of the best around. And she's...
Yeah,
Let's be honest, she's mid.
She's mid. I mean, she's by the best around. Like, this is hardly a high bar that she's vaulted here.
No,
you know?
this is not like this is not Woodward and Bernstein-esque in its probity.
Yes. Politico teacher asks, why did they drop the £28 billion green investment pledge then? Well, let me learn you a thing. Let me learn people in chat a thing. Is that they had a £28 billion pledge. It was £28 billion of public investment for publicly owned clean power. And then Rachel Reeves went to the World Economic Forum conference in Davos, in Switzerland, and met with somebody from the Green Finance Institute, a private sector finance thing that's owned by somebody who used to work for Barclays, or run by somebody who used to work for Barclays Bank. And she met up with Rachel Reeves and said, no, you don't have to do public investment. No public investment. You should do 25% public with 75% private investment. And then Rachel Reeves said, okay, then we'll do that. And then appointed that same person from the Green Finance Institute and some of her old mates at her former employer, Barclays Bank, to their climate strategy group.
Yeah.
Like, literally, there was going to be 20 billion of public investment, and then she met somebody at Davos, like some green finance person, and then decided that she was stopping doing that, and lied to the public and said that it was about the state of the economy, or B, the fact that they told the public that it was because they didn't want to, the economy couldn't cope with it.
Yeah.
And they told the press, or at least they briefed to the press, that it was because it was bad for them electorally, because Rishi Sunak was talking about how it was going to have to increase tax or whatever in the run up to the election.
Yeah.
So they just lied.
Yeah.
They just lied about it.
Yeah. And to the person in chat, yeah, we do have organisations like Turn Left, or indeed Navarra. And you should go and follow those organisations who are very good. But when I said one of the best around, I meant like in terms of the mainstream, old school media. She's one of the better ones. And she's shit. Like, and also, I mean, not to make everything about Israel, but I did just have to look at The Guardian, which is the newspaper that's, I mean, probably the most left-wing of the major newspapers.
The broadsheets, right?
Yeah. And literally, its wall-to-wall coverage of why we should allow Maccabi Tel Aviv fans into the country was like, do you ever feel like maybe your institution might have been captured, lads? Really? Because like 42% of the nation as a whole, but I guarantee you on the left, it's significantly higher than that. And yet The Guardian doesn't seem to possess a single journalist who agrees with anyone who reads that paper.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Mad.
Future. And look, it's not just about the jobs, the big numbers. It's also about saying to young people, because I've got a plan for 5 new clean energy technical excellence colleges, so that young people, 20,000 of whom will be trained at these technical excellence colleges, so that they can see the jobs of the future. And I know, I was at Sheffield Forge Masters on Thursday, talking to some of the apprentices there. This is what they want to be doing. They want to build the future for our country, and this is the opportunity for them to do so.
OK. Is Rosebank oil field off the northwest of Scotland part of the future for our country? You've got to make a decision on whether to allow drilling to go ahead there. Are you going to approve it?
It's a planning decision.
Of course he fucking
is. It's a
is.
quasi-judicial decision, so I'm not going to comment on that. What I will
Why?
say, because it's a quasi-judicial decision, and I don't come on, there's got to be a proper process that we follow.
Wow, that's the government doesn't want to interfere with law enforcement in certain areas.
Yeah, weird how not quasi-judicial decisions, but actually devolved decisions to local authorities, police departments, can be overruled by the government in Westminster.
Intriguing.
Apparently only when it's for Israel, though.
Well, apparently oil is more important than people, so that's fine. It's good to know that it's good to know that the dead dinosaurs under the sea mean more than the people of my city. Thank you.
No, but the decision is yours in the end, isn't it?
Yes, and I have to go through the proper process. An application is put in, it's looked at on its merits, and that's what's going to happen. But I will.
Okay. But if I may come on to the point, just because we are coming up to time. It was
Gone
a
so
manifesto.
quickly.
Sorry?
It's gone so quickly.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, as you know. It was a manifesto commitment not to grant new oil licenses. And 2 years ago, you called Rosebank.
Vicky, are you saying former director of public prosecutions and son of a toolmaker, Keir Starmer, might have lied during the election or in his manifesto?
No, he would never do that.
What a scurrilous accusation!
Absolutely outrageous.
Climate vandalism. How could you ever possibly prove it?
Rosebank's going to go through its proper process, but let me go to your point about the manifesto commitment. We made 2 manifesto commitments. We're going to abide by them to keep existing.
Well, that would make a change because you've never abided by anything before. That would be the first 2 manifesto commitments you've ever fucking fulfilled. I think you might be full of shit, mate.
Oil and gas fields open for their lifetime, and not to issue new licenses to explore new fields.
Right,
to get slightly
that's how you get around it.
No, it's not about getting around it to be technical again. Rosebank is a consent, it's not about a license. So those will be looked at in the proper way, but the bigger picture here is we want a just transition in the North Sea. So we've got to protect those workers, as well as creating new jobs for those workers, hydrogen, carbon capture and elsewhere. And we've got to have an environmentally leading position, and we're going to do both of those things.
And the Prime Minister's going to COP next month? Yes?
He'll be making clear his decision about whether he's able to go. Obviously, I'm keen he goes, but the Prime Minister faces such pressures on his diary, but he really cares about this.
Yeah, like not going to Cathillo. Because he knows he would tank the already tanking numbers of the Labour candidate there.
It's so true.
Literally, the Caerphilly is a no-go zone for Keiths. It's outrageous.
This issue, he sees it.
Sounds like he may not be going. He doesn't care that much.
He sees it as about not just about protecting the future for young people, important though that is, but as absolutely central to our economic policy, our energy security policy. I think there's been no Prime Minister with the kind of commitment that Keir Starmer has on this.
OK, but you can't confirm he'll be going on one of the most important missions that he set out.
The Prime Minister's diary is above my pay grade, but I'm sure they'll be making his decision clear soon.
Thank you very much, Ed Miliband.
Great
Thank you
to
for
be
talking to our audience this morning.
Great.
Thank you.
Wanker!
Now, it was a Conservative government led by Theresa May,
Don't
which
think of
first
that bit in-
committed the country to...
Hot fuzz. It's a bit hot fuzz. Prick. Wanger.
Yeah, literally, yeah. That's all that needs to be said. Now that I've got a soundboard and I've got lots of those things on there, I don't even have to comment. I was watching this Mamdani debate yesterday, and I was just pressing like the one for wanker, the clip of I seem to have spotted a cunt. Like I don't need to speak anymore. I've been replaced by technology. It's outrageous.
Now you just need to program AI so that it responds automatically, and you don't even need to speak.
Yeah, I can just stay in bed. Fuck yes, let's go.
Net zero emissions by 2050. When Kemi Badenoch announced...
Who?
Sorry, I've left my questions over there. That's why I was doing that. Helen, can I have my questions? I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, this fucking show is awful. The fuck, I mean...
Quick, put the camera in the way.
Yeah, you put the camera in the way, or have loud clumping footsteps. That's what we need all the time. This is the worst produced show ever, and I include my own in that.
Stressing about it. Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. A bit of TV magic for you. But it was Theresa May who called it a catastrophic mistake when Kemi Badenoch said that she was going to scrap these targets. Theresa May said, we owe it to our children to protect the planet and need to give reassurances, of course, to businesses to find solutions. Claire Coutinho is the shadow energy and net zero secretary. You were doing the job in the last Conservative government, of course, which supported that 2050 target. Thank you very much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Now, you want to scrap the Climate Change Act that legally binds the UK to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The public is actually in a different place to you when you look at the research. Polling...
Yeah, we know. They're tanking in the polls. We know. We're very well aware of this. They've just been overtaken by the Green Party. Like, yeah, they're literally like they're dead. They're as dead as the dinosaurs under the sea. And I am not going to be... I'm not going to allow chat to correct me by saying it's mostly dead plant life. I don't fucking care.
thing that's really funny is that, like, George Osborne was literally told directly to his face, right? If you do not create a new generation of homeowners amongst young people, the Conservative Party will die out. And he didn't, and they have. It's really simple.
Yeah.
By More in Common suggests that nearly 2/3 of people think the government should keep up its current pace or go even faster towards net zero.
So firstly, I think what's really important is to look at why we have said this. And we've said this because what's coming down the tracks are huge costs to consumers, much higher energy bills, and actually we're seeing jobs move abroad. So the position that I've set out is this actually isn't working for climate change. Every time a business moves from the UK to another part of the world, which is still powered by coal, you are making emissions worse. You were just talking about the North Sea. Instead of using North Sea gas, we are now using imports of liquefied natural gas, which has up to 4 times the emissions. That's making climate change worse. So we think the Climate Change Act is now not doing what it said on the tin.
Okay.
Maybe, right, in the 14 years you're in government, you could have done even more decarbonisation so that we didn't have to import anything because we'd been decarbonised, or helped anybody out in changing from gas boilers to heat pumps. But you didn't do that because the government helping the people is communism.
Yeah, no, you did gas communism. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or the heat pump communism.
Yeah, heating Marxism. Yeah.
Despite what the public say in polling.
Well, they care about climate change, but what I don't think they are signing up for is much higher bills and jobs being lost.
Okay, but that's already happening. Like, it's not like that's a choice here. Apparently no one thinks that we need to have or no one has a plan to get the bills down. Because the one thing we could do, which would be to, nationalise that industry and have the government control those prices, is off the table.
And
keep all the profits for ourselves, rather than letting it go offshore to private equity firms.
Yeah.
To countries abroad.
Right.
That is not what has been put to them.
In terms of the jobs being lost point, doesn't your chopping and changing actually lead to businesses completely losing confidence in whether they should invest in the UK?
Well, look, I understand this idea that business needs certainty.
That happens with the electric vehicles when they just fucking change the electric vehicle mandate overnight, right? With no warning at all because they just needed fucking headlines. And I think it was Ford and Jaguar Land Rover just went and said, wait, what? We've just planned for this change to electric vehicles by 2030 and now you're telling us no. What is this?
Yeah, true. Yes, Bonzig, we mentioned that Tel Aviv Derby was banned or postponed or whatever. Abandoned is the word, isn't it? Which means, of course, that the police of Tel Aviv are Hamas. When will the police of Tel Aviv integrate into British society? Really?
But what kind of certainty are you giving businesses if you say the only way you can have a job here is if people face much, much higher electricity bills? That is simply not something which has democratic consent, and the people are not up for it. So my position is, yes, we do care about jobs, but you need to look at the whole of the economy. We're losing thousands of jobs in the North Sea. We're losing thousands of jobs in industry. And the primary purpose of any energy secretary now has to say we have the most...
Like, it's incredible they never made this argument during the closing of the coal mines, right?
No, that was fine.
None of these arguments about, look, I think all the jobs are being lost in the coal mines at the time. Again, no one thought that the coal mines should stay open forever. Right, but what was the point was that you're supposed to do a just transition where you gave people new jobs and new levels of investment, right? Of course, Labour government fucking up that. They're doing what Thatcher did. Look at Grangemouth, look at Port Talbot, etc., 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 right? Like, but regardless, it is very funny of them to go, but think of all of the jobs in this sector of the economy when you are literally the monarchs. You are the absolute fucking, the zenith. When it comes to British political parties and destroying industries and fucking over the people that used to work in them.
Well, yeah, but now the power of Labour has been destroyed, so it's fine. These are not bad union people. These are good, flexible workers.
Quite.
Most expensive electricity in the world, and we have to bring that down. Okay. And that's why we set out
And you
plans.
could have obviously done that when you were in government, couldn't you?
When I came in, I did a net zero reset. I said we have to worry about costs. I only had 11 months, but now in a position we've set...
I only had 11 months. That's quite a long time to have done something. And you didn't.
Also, like, your whole government was supposed to have done something. Like, you can't just say, well, if it was up to me. And I'm like, well, you could at least try and pressure the people who are in charge, right?
Yeah.
set out plans, the cheap power plan, which would cut electricity bills by 20%, not just for a few million households, but for everybody. And actually, Ed talked about caring about bills. He could do this tomorrow. It's in his gift, and he'd be able to bring down people's bills at a time when they are massively struggling.
When do you want to hit net zero by, assuming the Conservatives still do want to hit net zero at some point?
So we think decarbonisation is not a bad thing. I think caring about pollution is important. But at the moment, the targets are actually pulling you in the wrong directions, because what you're doing, on the one hand, is making electricity really expensive. But if you want to decarbonise, the thing you have to do is get people to use electric products, cars, home heating, industry to electrify their machinery.
So by
so
when?
Yeah,
so we
that's
don't
it,
have
that's
a
it,
target.
right?
What we've said is
Don't inconvenience any of the multinational corporations. Don't inconvenience any of the petrochemical billionaires. No. The only inconvenience should be placed upon Joe Public.
Yes. Welcome to conservative economics.
actually we need to. What we've said, yes, we've said we think the target is not. We're not able to meet that 2050 target. So
Right.
our policy is this: if we bring down the cost of electricity, electrification will be much easier. So the primary focus in the years ahead is to deal with the biggest problem the country has in energy policy, that we have the highest electricity prices in the world. And as I said before, we've set out a cheap power plan that tomorrow could cut people's
Sure.
electricity bills by 20%.
China is committed to reaching net zero by 26.
What the fuck is that? China, like it's a bag of shit.
China.
China is A, way richer than us, and B, way more technologically advanced and forward thinking. The idea that she said China there like she might as well have just said those insert
Yellow
racial
peril.
insert racist slur here. You know, those people, those fucking scum, those dogs. Like, Jesus Christ. China is like way ahead of us. It can build train lines in its country.
I mean, like, fundamentally, if they're the ones who are at the cutting edge of technology, just buy it off them. Just buy, you know, they want to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's that? You've got Belt and Road. President Xi, please, we cry out for freedom.
Fuck it, at this point, our country is so far gone to the dogs, we might as well just accept that we're all just going to be a vassal state of somebody. At least we're a vassal state of somebody that likes doing public investment, rather than being the vassal state of somebody that fucks you over with tariffs.
Exactly, yeah. That's the way to look at it, right? Like, we already saw with Trump doing his little, come here, patting him on the head and then going like, you're not going to get to speak, turns his back on him. That's how small nations get treated. We used to be the big nation that treated others like that. Constantly, for centuries. And now we're the shitty little country. So we have to choose. Do you want to be shackled to America, who are going to fuck you over and force you to have nuclear weapons and fucking all kinds of evil, weird fucking spying shit as well? Like, we give them rent-free military bases in the UK, which we have no jurisdiction over whatsoever legally, to spy on our own people.
Yep.
We might as well do that with China and get a road or a fucking bridge or a railway out of it as well. Some solar panels. Because all America's giving us at the minute is the finger. And I'm not saying where that's going.
60. Would that be a good year to reach it by?
Well, firstly, China's building new coal power plants every year, and at the same
They're
time...
also doing record-breaking investment in renewables.
But they're building fossil fuels at an even greater rate. So if you look at what's happened between us and China...
Sorry, I was asking you about 2060. Does that sound like a good year?
Let me explain. So we've halved our emissions since 1990. China's emissions have risen by 300% in that time. So we think the focus now should be...
Wow, an economy that went from nowhere to the most powerful on Earth might have used some carbon in the last 35 years.
Yeah, it's really funny.
That's crazy. Basically, they did what we did, but back when we did it, it was ages ago, and so that's fine, and we don't have to pay any price for that. But we should ask China to continue to impoverish themselves because, we fucked over the planet first.
Well, yeah, there's a thing called the environmental Kuznets curve, which essentially says that you reach a tipping point where once you've used fossil fuels to get your country to be like a rich country, you then spend that money investing in cheap clean energy, and then you get a double dividend out of being able to use it cheaper and more efficient and cleaner as well, right? Once you've passed that tipping point. I think broadly nowadays, given that China produces really cheap clean power that everybody can buy, like, I don't think it's really relevant, but fundamentally that was the mode of kind of the way an economy would grow from an emerging into a dominant economy in like the 90s and early 2000s.
True. Oh, Katie Marshall apparently is in your chat. Katie, if you're listening, still listening, hello. I was wearing the Celtic top that you paid me to wear, but it was very tight, so I've taken it off. It's over there. But if you scroll back in the thing, I fulfilled my end of the bargain.
Your contractual obligation.
Exactly. Do not say I don't put a modicum of effort into this show. And literally, that's all.
Looking at the 99% of emissions are elsewhere, what can Britain make and sell to the rest of the world to deal with the fact that whilst we've been cutting emissions, around the world emissions are rising, and secondly, an energy policy to bring down the price of electricity. So whether that is for climate change, the economy, or households, we think that is the right approach, dealing with the issues which matter to the country.
Are you not dragging the UK backwards in this area when the UK...
Well, not really, because they're never going to be in government again. But rhetorically, yes. Yeah.
I mean, again, because they're chasing the tail of reform. That's what reform are going to be doing.
Yeah,
When they inevitably get into government, they will be the ones dragging the country back, right? But the Tories are just jumping because Nigel Farage has asked for a meter in the air, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One point was world leading.
Well, we have to see what has happened from being world leading. You know, we are the country that's done more than anybody else. Other countries have not caught up.
Well, chat, you say, what can we make and sell to the world? I already told you. Football hooliganism. There is not a town square on the continent that England fans haven't got drunk and been racist and violent to and smashed the place up. We are the leading exporters of mindless hooligans. Okay? You're very welcome, Europe.
Up to us, and actually the problem that we've got facing this country is we've got some of the cleanest electricity in the world, and it is the most expensive. So politics as a whole has got to make choices, and the choice we have to make now.
No, we don't have the cleanest energy in the world. We have some of the most like there are leagues of countries in Europe that have a greater mix of clean power than we do, and all have cheaper bills. France, Germany, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, Spain, Italy.
Iceland is not real. Iceland is a supermarket. Don't be so low.
True. I hate Iceland.
Now is what is the biggest problem facing the country when it comes to energy policy? And I would argue it's that our energy bills are too high.
Okay. You are calling on the government, as I understand it, to stop its latest round of auctions for renewable investments, so things like offshore wind farms. Does that mean the Conservatives don't want any more offshore wind?
Well, not at these prices. So if you look at gas, for example, without a carbon tax at the moment, it's £55 a megawatt hour. Ed has said he's willing to pay up to £117 for offshore wind on a 20-year fixed contract. So what you're doing is moving from a 4% variable onto a 10% fixed rate mortgage. And it's not just you and me that will be paying for that. It's our children. Our children in 20 years will be paying those prices. So no, we would not be buying any at those prices.
But so,
sorry, offshore... Hooliganism is a renewable resource. True. Let's fucking go. They do replicate themselves, unfortunately.
Wind... You're still in favour of it, broadly speaking, at the right price? Is that what you're saying?
I am technology agnostic. What I care about is cutting the cost of electricity. And at the moment, the prices are far too high and they should stop that auction.
When you were Energy Secretary, you did...
I'm a technology atheist myself. I don't believe technology exists.
Well, those strike prices are for offshore wind, and there's a lot of problems in terms of the money that you get for the construction of these things, right? But obviously the fixed cost that you get for the contracts of difference is high, because they want to be able to ensure they can make returns on the fact that they've invested infrastructure up front in case something goes wrong. And I'm just like, well, we wouldn't have to care about giving these people enough money they would make a profit if we were using it with public fucking funds.
Yeah.
Literally, as Ben pointed out in chat, I literally took the words right out of my mouth, that it's getting the private companies to do the contract is the problem here.
Yeah.
Which is for people who don't know, that basically, she's correct in saying that there is a certain price that we pay out, and we do auctions. That's the starting price, however. Like the price can go down from there if to get the contract for whatever clean power it is, right? But it sets the price of what they guarantee these people to get over a 20-year fixed term. When of course, if the price of the actual wholesale goes down, then they're making loads of money because they're fixed price, right? So what you want to do instead is just have it publicly owned.
Yeah.
And then and if prices go down, if the manufacturing cost is not as high as they expected, then we will be able to own it ourselves and reap all the dividends. And apparently, this was an Ed Davey policy from the coalition. Well, fantastic.
Indeed, thanks, Ed. Maybe just stick to one-on-one on FIFA, you useless prick. Anyway, yes, very much like we are. If we were a Scooby-Doo cartoon, you rip the face off the mask off the demon creature at the end, and it's always the answer is the demon is capitalism.
Or it's funny, like a conservative MP walks in, you take the mask off, and it's another conservative MP.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
We would have got away with it too if it wasn't for the pesky previous government.
True.
Exactly the same thing that you're now accusing this government of doing. You raised maximum prices for the renewable auction to, quote, ensure projects are sustainably priced and economically viable. So you're being a hypocrite, aren't you?
So one of the things that we had then was obviously the wholesale price was much higher. Now the wholesale price is much lower than these prices. So Ed is telling you that he can cut bills by signing up to these contracts. But what he's never explained is why is signing up to higher prices going to cut anyone's bills? And just to talk about that time in the department, like I said, I had 11 months. And one of the things I tasked them with doing is redoing the cost of energy because...
I mean... First of all, I mean, the wholesale price is still high. Like, you're not saving money by doing a gas instead of a renewable contract, even at the stupid high prices that they make the private companies bid for, right? Second of all, why the fuck should anybody trust anything that you say when you claimed that there was going to be a fucking meat tax?
Meat tax! Like, and 7 bins!
Yeah, you were literally... This woman was literally speaking to... a fucking Sky News journalist, and Sophie Ridge, and claimed there was going to be a fucking meat tax.
Yeah, which isn't true.
Yeah,
because I didn't think it was an honest costing of renewables. Ed has come in and cancelled that work. So all of those extra costs, I think you talked about the energy bosses, saying that if gas went to zero tomorrow, all of those extra costs means that people's bills would go up under Ed's plans, and I think that's wrong.
But gas prices won't go to zero.
Thank you very much for being with us.
In this fucking mythical world I've created in my head, where the sector of the economy that I am lobbying for is valued at fucking zero, so it's free, then you'll really be fucking the public will really rue the day they elected Ed Miliband. And I'm like, but that's not happening. Yeah, no, gas prices aren't going to zero.
True.
Morning, we appreciate it. Thank you. And do let us know what you think of the conversations that we're having this morning. Email.
They're shit. That is what I think of them.
Koonsberg@bbc.co.uk, or if you're on social media, use the hashtag BBC Laura K. And you can message us on WhatsApp too. The number is 08000 282 161, and we'll try and share some of your messages a little bit later in the programme. Right, let's talk to our panel then. Jens Stoltenberg,
Well done there to Vicky D for remembering to take her notes with her this time. Bravo.
That's a good point in chat, by the way, as well, is that if gas prices went to zero, it would benefit us because the gas sets the marginal price of the electricity that we pay for, which is true. But again, of course, this is a mythical scenario that it doesn't exist.
True, but if we put like fucking energy boss CEOs in stocks in the streets and allowed people to throw rotten fruit at them, that would also help. It wouldn't necessarily bring energy prices down, but it would help.
It would make us feel better.
Yeah, definitely.
Became the boss of NATO. You were the UN climate change envoy. And this consensus in much of the world on net zero target...
Wow, he really is useless. He was the head of NATO, which is essentially just an arm of the American establishment. And then he was a fucking UN dickwad. Brilliant. Any other ineffective nonsense you want to do?
Is breaking down. What are the consequences of that? Or why is it breaking down?
Well, first of all, there's still strong support globally for reducing global emissions.
I know, but I'm asking you why you think it's breaking
but
down.
it's less consensus, less, as I say, more disagreement about these targets.
Well, the irony is, right?
And I think
is that international pressure broadly because of the consensus position of actual people who choose governments by the democratic mandate, right? Was that they wanted decarbonisation. And even the big petrochemical giants like BP and like investors like BlackRock, etc., the real kind of villains of the piece, they were all changing and saying, I guess we have to ensure that we have buy-in from the public. The pressure is so great. We'll do some investments in some green stuff. We'll do green bonds. We'll try and change our remit to invest in green energy as well as fossil fuels on the side, just in case if you're BP. And then Trump gets elected and going, we're gonna drill, baby, drill. And they'll go, fuck that then, right? Literally, some bro podcasters who wanted to get the Cracker Barrel logo back have decided to set back the entirety of the world's attempt to combat climate change because essentially the vibes changed, right? The vibes changed.
Yeah.
It's really dumb.
The discussion we just heard demonstrates that. People would like to have low energy prices, and we all want to have that. At the same time, we have seen a significant increase in energy prices, at least across Europe, for many reasons. The main reason is the increase in gas prices that follow the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And therefore, we need to find out how can we both reduce emissions of greenhouse gases, which we need to prevent global warming, and at the same time keep the energy prices as low as possible. It's not for me to give advice into a domestic debate in the UK, but...
Oh yeah, NATO would never intervene in national affairs.
Oh god, the irony.
It's never happened before. Yeah, it's fine.
Literally the mind-bending irony, right? Like, they've never, for example, had their sister organizations in America donate money to nationalist political parties to foment a civil war to break up a country so that American megacorporations can reap the benefits of the economies being opened up to capital, right?
Yeah, it's not like they're literally some of their people are involved in the planning of the. Let's be honest, what's going to happen is a coup of Venezuela. That's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah. It's not like anybody from NATO organised stay-behind squads in Italy to murder socialists in case that there was a revolution, right?
No.
But I can say that at least what we try to do in my country is to try to follow what we call the polluters pay principle, meaning that those who pollute has to pay, and that will lead to also the most cost-effective solutions, meaning that we implement those measures that are reducing emissions to the lowest cost, and that's also the best way to try to keep the price down.
Emily, how much of this breakdown of the consensus is to do with President Trump and his drill, baby, drill approach, do you think?
There's a really odd paradigm, isn't there, in America at the moment, because when you look at
Hang on one second.
the potential
Ben in chat says a lot about Norway that this is Jens Stoltenberg was the guy credited with winning the election for Labour with his persuasiveness and charisma.
Yeah. I mean, I presume in a second language he might sound like a boring cunt, but I presume he's life and soul of the party in Norwegian.
I mean, one would at least hope so. Maybe just Norwegians are more normal than we are, and they just hear somebody give frank answers, going, "Okay, well, I support the man."
He seems like exactly because that's sort of how it should be in a sense, right? Like you go, "Oh, well, that is a sensible approach to the tackling of a public issue. I agree with this. I will vote for this man because I think he looks like he's competent and has a good policy." And that's it.
Exactly.
That's the way it should be, but unfortunately, that's rarely the case.
I think it's like the Labour Party were polling in the doldrums because they didn't really do enough intervention during the cost of living crisis, right? And then their polling ratings were really kind of low. And then Jens Stoltenberg said, "I'm coming back," and it shot up again. Really weird. Really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Disaster that the tariffs policy could bring to the US economy, it is being offset right now by what they're doing with data centers, with AI. And they are building fast and furious, and it is consuming a lot of electricity, but they are going to put themselves in a place where they are way, way ahead, particularly of the UK, in terms of AI and what the future looks like. And so I guess...
Wow, I'm glad that isn't a bubble that's going to burst and destroy the world's economy.
I guess one of the questions for us is where do we fit in to the AI picture? We really want low energy bills. We really want to pay less for electricity, but we don't want to be left out of what the future looks like. And if that's data centers, what is the compromise that we would be willing to make?
Yeah.
Because the data centers that run the US at the moment, I think, have electricity that will power 6 major cities. And that is going to be exponentially off the charts bigger in the decade to come. So, I mean, that is one of the things that I think is staring us in the face.
And Adil, briefly on this point, do you think it's key for somebody like Ed Miliband to get those bills down for people watching right now in order to maintain public support for net zero?
I think so. Look, I think the problem he has when he talks about 2030, I think we're in a sort of strange place in politics now that people don't believe those kind of those sort of aims. People look at that and go, is that really going to happen in 5 years' time?
No.
Is £300 going to be worth a lot to me in 5 years' time? And I think that's what people are looking at. So it's a difficult thing because I would think if you poll people, people will say both the same thing.
Honestly, in 5 years' time, 300 quid won't buy you a Freddo. That's how bad it's going to get.
True. We'll be wheelbarrowing around the marks in no time.
Yes. Wallpapering with fibres. Let's go.
They want to see more aims towards net zero and protection of our climate, and they want lower bills. That is very difficult to achieve immediately. It's a tough task, but I think they do need to start looking at ways in which you can give money to the consumer now. In France, just very quickly, in France, what they do, which is interesting, I think, is that when it comes to refitting homes, rather than leave it to schemes and maybe even the energy companies, they give a grant direct from the state to the consumer. And I think that is quite interesting because at least it puts immediate money in people's pockets. And will they then feel that they are being listened to and feel the difference?
I want to bring you this breaking news, if I may. It's from...
Also, another thing is that when you... in France, they own the fucking energy company, right? Yeah. Like, it's really easy to keep the bills low if you own the energy company, get to set the price.
And if you own, you know, let's say 20% of Sizewell C, and you then get the profits from that to subsidise the costs of your energy.
Literally. I'm glad that I'm keeping the French's bills low, my bills.
True.
The Metropolitan Police, they say they are going to look into claims that Prince Andrew ordered his bodyguard, essentially, to dig up dirt on Virginia Giuffre, who accused...
Is that how it's pronounced? I've been saying Guthrie.
It's Giuffre, yeah.
Giuffre. Oh. That just makes me think of Andy Dufresne from the fucking Shawshank Redemption.
Literally, yeah.
Okay.
Of sexual abuse. She says she was forced to have sex with him when she was 17. Emily Maitlis...
Forced to have sex. She was raped.
Yes, that's what that's called.
First of all, your reaction to that?
I'm glad that they are. I mean, what we heard from the Mail on Sunday today is that he had asked one of his close security to obtain her social security number with the intense purpose of, I guess, trying to malign her or to drag her through the dirt. Now, this comes in the week where we will be hearing from Virginia Giuffre through her own voice. Her memoir is...
posthumously as well, which is really, like... I mean, just adds an extra layer of, like, weird fucked upness to it all. Because this is the last time she will ever speak, of course, because she's now dead, because she was, let's say, murdered by Prince Andrew. For legal reasons, I'm joking. Like, I'll call him a nonce, because I think I can prove that in a court of law. I cannot prove he murdered anyone.
It's published on Tuesday. It will be harrowing. It will be devastating.
I've read it. It is.
And it will document a life of
How
pain
has she read
and a
it?
woman who was in so much trauma that believed by speaking out she could help others through what she had gone through and that she could in some way try and repair the damage to her own life. She's dead. She died by suicide 6 months after she finished.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein did. Yeah. Just suicide. Don't look into it any further. Just like that bloke who committed suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head.
Indeed so. Also, a quick point by Politico teacher. He's not called Prince Andrew. He has given up his royal titles. His name is Andrew Windsor. Sorry. Andrew Saxe-Coburg-Gotha.
True, but I still have problems not calling the king Prince Charles.
True.
Because you just get used to calling them that thing, you know? Like I still say, I was explaining to my friend in America what a HMP was, which is His Majesty's Prisons, right? Because
Yeah.
we're such a weird shit country. We have dukedoms, and our entire prison estate is owned by the monarch because we're a very serious nation. Anyway, and I said Her Majesty's prisons as if the Queen was still alive, because in my head that's all I've ever known is that she was there. So it's even years later, it's still an issue for me. So I will allow them a little bit of the 48 hours since he relinquished that. Might be difficult to change your mental approach.
Co-writing that book, and I think if there have been people responsible for trying to make her life even more unbearable than it was, then I would like to see justice done.
Can I ask you how you took that email that emerged last week that Prince Andrew sent to Epstein saying, "We're in it together, we'll play some more soon," when he told you in your Newsnight interview in 2019 that he'd broken off contact with Epstein the year before?
I felt quite sick, actually. He was categoric in 2019 in the Newsnight interview that he...
You felt quite sick, like because he lied to you. So you're the victim here.
Ladies and
We
gentlemen,
should feel sorry for you because you got lied to. Brilliant, fantastic.
had come to stay with Epstein, and he
Well,
used
definitely
this
come,
very
that's
odd
true.
phrase. To
Oh,
me.
Jesus
He didn't want to take
Christ.
the chicken's way out.
See,
was the-
this is sometimes I feel like I'm such a bad influence. You should not do shows with me. You're going to ruin a very promising career in media with jokes like that.
the chicken's way of doing things to call up, to make a phone call. And so he'd come to stay with Jeffrey Epstein so he could break the news of the end of their friendship in person. We put it to him that you don't need to spend 4 days, 4 nights in a convicted paedophile's home attending house parties in order to break that news. And
No, the
and
house parties were essential. No, they were. Yeah. He was also being paid for by the public because he was a trade envoy for Britain at the time.
God, I'm glad it's not just the hush money we had to pay for. We also paid for the thing that he paid the hush money for.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks.
response was, if anything, he had a tendency to be too honourable. That was his phrase, which kind of stuck in the gullet. And he went on this walk with Epstein in Central Park.
No. He was in a Pizza Express in Woking. Stop lying. That's all. That's the only place he's ever been. He's never been to New York. He doesn't even know this Jeffrey Epstein character. Doesn't know anything about him. He was having some yum pizza in Woking.
And he said that was the time at which he had categorically broken off their friendship. He told me he left the next day. This email was written, we understand, 2 months later. And the
Okay, but maybe he's taking the Israel approach to this, right? If you just say you're doing a ceasefire in between not doing a ceasefire, he can say, look, I've broken off contact with him since I called him last Wednesday. And until I call him next week. You know, like, it's technically, for the most part, you are breaking off contact, you know?
Of it, the idea, not just that he was saying we're in this together, but signing off, let's play some more soon, does not suggest that he had ever finished that friendship, that he had ever broken off with Epstein.
Yes, because he is a pedophile, and so was Jeffrey Epstein, and they wanted to do more pedophile shit together. He is dead, but at least was in jail for the last bit of his life, and that should also be the case for the ex-Prince Andrew. The Andrew formerly known as Prince.
And so you're left really questioning why he said that, whether the conversation ever existed, and how much more there is in that interview that we have to now go back and question and look at again. I watched the whole interview again for the first time in 6 years yesterday to kind of remind myself.
Was that
of
6
what was
years
actually in
ago?
it.
Adil, Virginia Giuffre's brother,
I
told
watched
us
Jesus
on Newsnight
Christ.
on Friday that
I remember watching that entire interview with Christie on a happy hour. We didn't call it happy hour for obvious reasons. But yeah, that was 6 years ago. Oh, time flies, man.
It has. You were 32.
I still wasn't a fucking... Even if I joined the Green Party 6 years ago, I couldn't have been in the fucking thing. Oh, I'm so old, chat. I'm a fat old disgusting mess. Give me money. To make me feel so I can eat myself to death. Fuck it.
Actually, the king should go further and remove the prince bit from Prince Andrew.
He should also remove the king bit from his fucking name because we're not in the Middle Ages. It's ridiculous. He shouldn't be that shouldn't be a thing. Why are we having this unelected guy make any decisions about our constitutional arrangements because he came out with the right set of bollocks and ovaries? It's ridiculous.
And this, I mean, I wonder what difference it really makes to people that he's just not going to use the Duke of York title anymore.
I think it makes no difference at all, Victoria. I mean, really, it's a punishment to him, but it makes no difference to anybody else. It's made no difference this morning. The papers are still talking about it. It is still a distraction.
True.
And there's still more to come. We know the book is coming out. We know there are thousands of more victims and more emails to come out of the Congress inquiry. So I suspect this is not necessarily about a distraction. This is about paving the way for the future royal family and Prince William, and to make sure this is sort of sorted before Prince William takes the reign.
But would it have been better?
Oh well, that's okay then. As long as they're doing it just so that the next guy doesn't have to deal with pedo shit. Fucking Christ Almighty! I hate this country so much at times.
It's miserable, isn't it? It's so miserable.
Mental. Thank you to Random T391 for 5 gifties on the Twitches. I appreciate that more than life itself. That's not really true, but I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Katie Marshall, for the 5 gifties on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Again, Katie, I did wear the shirt. You'll have to scroll back in the VOD. I can't help that you turned up late.
Charles had released that statement instead of it being allowed to be presented by Prince Andrew, who in that statement said, as always, I put my family and my country first.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if Prince Andrew could have shown some remorse in that statement. Right. I think that is the thing that people will be looking at. That after all this time, there seems to be no remorse whatsoever. And
of course not. We said in that interview, like the most damning bit, he was literally asked, "Do you regret your relationship with him?" The easiest open goal situations, you say, yeah, I regret it. Like, even Trump says, yeah, I regret it. I wish I'd never met him.
Pete Mandelson says he regrets it.
Yeah, because that's the thing you say when someone gets convicted of noncing. Even if you're also a nonce. Like, just PR-wise, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he went, no, I don't regret it. Well, I mean, all I can say is, if people start building a scaffold, it will be because you've got work going on at the house and nothing more.
Indeed so.
And as I said at the start of the show, I think a lot of the victims are still saying that this is just the start, it's not the end. And actually, if he's an innocent party, at the very least, testify, be a witness, and help the other victims. And that would be the right thing to do.
Emily, one more briefly for you on this. MP Rachel Maskell thinks there should now be a lot more transparency about how Prince Andrew funded the reported £12 million settlement, which he paid to Virginia Giuffre about 8 years or so ago. Does the public have a right to know how he afforded that?
Yes. What the fuck kind of question is that? The BBC are dog shit. The BBC are such dog shit, as if that's the framing. Do they have a right to know whether £12 million of our public money covered the cost of his noncing? Yeah. Considering people, like, if an MP spends fucking tuppence halfpenny, it gets fucking broadcast on, a million of these accounts that are like, MP's expenses trackers. And that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. Every penny spent of public money should be accountable. Why is 12 million not?
I mean, he should get the full Michelle Mone treatment, right?
Well, and more, because she's also not in fucking jail when she should be.
Oh, very true, very true.
We don't know how much the money was.
No.
It
was about 12 million quid.
Came from his late mother, the Queen, in a settlement. I guess there are questions.
But she was the Queen of the people. She wouldn't spend £12 million of public money to defend her pedo son, surely. She was an angel.
Heaven forfend.
People queued up for 2 fucking days to see a box that probably didn't contain her body.
How dare people besmirch the name Saxa Coburg Gotha?
Exactly.
About the money. There are questions about the titles. There are questions about the constitutional niceties of who put the emails through. But honestly, I think we have to stand back because the Epstein scandal was huge. And I think we understand, we have seen probably 1% of the files, 1% of the information. There are so many questions to ask about what happened, going right back to 2008, when if the Department of Justice had done its job properly, he could have been put behind bars for years. There were 40 witnesses that came forward at that time. Something happened. Something happened that allowed him to have a ridiculously light sentence, which was an open jail where he came and went, still seeing young underage girls during that time. Okay. And I think
wow, something happened. I wonder if, I don't know, he had incredibly powerful contacts. Say Yum Yum contacts that might have been literally...
some best pals, maybe.
Some best pals in high office that maybe were literally emailing about how they were going to lobby on his behalf to get early release. Maybe. Maybe they should also be in jail for perverting the cause of justice. Maybe.
Some of the questions have to go right back to that time, and we're not asking the big ones right now.
Right. There are some Democrats and some Republicans in the States, of course, asking those questions, wanting all the Epstein files and...
Surprisingly, not that many Republicans anymore.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
They don't want to see the file. You don't need to see the files. Are we still talking about this, really? Come on now.
The Democrat hoax files, I think you mean, Kevin.
Yeah, maybe we should just give a pardon to his facilitator.
Fucking Ghislaine Maxwell.
Amazing.
Incredible scenes. I mean, you know what? I did not realise Thomas Massey's game.
True.
I was not familiar with his game up until now.
True.
Other documents and cassettes and whatever to be released. Okay, we'll be back with you shortly. We're going to talk about your book in a little while as well. Today we've been talking a lot about green policy.
Yeah, thanks for the plug after that discussion. Yeah, no, great. Wonderful. His publisher's going to love that.
And next up, we have got the leader of the Green Party in England and Wales, Zach Polanski. He was elected last month in a landslide amongst party members off the back of a campaign that urged a more punchy, populist approach to green matters and other issues. And he has seen a surge in support, with green membership increasing rapidly.
He's kind of caked up. Just saying.
Since he took over. This morning, the Greens say they have overtaken the Conservative Party when it comes to membership. Zach Polanski, hello. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure you are on a high after this reported surge in the Green membership. What do you think it's down to?
It's really exciting. We've had an 80%...
My massive throbbing cock. And how fucking Chad I am. Have you seen that? Have you seen the fucking... Oh, the power of the arms! Oh! I don't skip leg day, too.
An increase in the entire membership since I became leader, and people are...
Membership is not the only gains that's happening. Let's go!
Telling me what it's down to. People are feeling hope. They can hear that I'm talking about the fact that people's wages aren't high enough, the cost of living is too high, and actually what we really need to do is tackle the inequality at the heart of our society. The 4 wealthiest people in Britain own more wealth than 20 million people combined. And the Green Party are the only party really talking about the fact that people are really struggling, they're tired and exhausted, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Right.
True.
You said in your conference speech you want to focus on the inequality by taxing the super rich. You don't want to tax people like hairdressers or plumbers. Yet you do want to raise £90 billion over 5 years from a carbon tax, taxes on businesses to encourage them to become greener. Businesses will just pass those costs on to their customers, won't they? Hitting those hairdressers and plumbers.
No, pause.
Well, I think there's a few things here.
That's not how that works. Prices are set by supply and demand. Supply and demand is what sets those prices, right? Like, they can't just, like, magic the ability for people to buy their product at a higher price. If they increase the prices, people will stop buying it or they get out-competed, because that's where the intersection of the supply-demand curve is, right? That's how prices are set. If their costs go up because they've got to pay carbon taxes, that will come out of profits.
Yeah.
Spent the programme talking about energy bills, and that's really, really important. Ed Miliband talked earlier about the decoupling. That's something the government could and should do. And actually, the reason
I'm
why...
asking about your carbon tax.
No, but the
Do
reason
you
why I
accept that businesses will pass the cost on to consumers?
Well, that's why with energy, for instance, we need to look at nationalising the energy companies. And the reason why I'm saying this is because all of these things for businesses will make their costs cheaper if their energy bills are down. Those are one of the biggest kind of hits on businesses at the moment.
Sure. But are you saying you don't expect them to pass your massive carbon tax on to customers?
No. So I think what we need to be doing is finding other ways to support particularly small and local businesses. These are vital, by the way, for tackling the climate crisis. We know the big corporations are destroying our environment, our democracy and our communities.
Said the line.
And actually what
He
we
said
need
the
is
line.
much more local business.
He did say the line.
He said the
those
line.
small to medium-sized businesses
And
that
famous
actually
chap.
can be rooted in communities that are doing things for the public good. They can make...
Zach, I don't know if you're already following me, my man, but you're clearly watching. So jump over and
again,
hit the follow button, mate. It's free.
It is, again, really important. He's still not answering the question here, which was about passing on the costs. Again, just it's supply and demand, like supply and demand.
Yeah, but he's a politician.
True.
Like, I mean, to be fair, right, this is going to sound weird, but part of politics is the art of lying in a way that isn't as terrible. That sounds bad, but let me explain. Like, if an asteroid is coming towards Earth, the politician has to lie and say, no, it isn't, because otherwise it's going to be public chaos. That's an extreme example, but you have to be able to lie in ways that are convincing and surpass people's worst elements. And so the fact that people get so easily baited into prices are going to rise if you do anything socialist, or taxes are going to be through the fucking roof, is why he literally says, I'm not going to tax hairdressers, as like his main like frontline bit to try and get past that kind of roadblock mentally. And so he's not going to answer that question because if you're explaining, you're losing, basically, is the kind of old school way of looking at it. And I think there's a certain truth to it, in that if he comes out and gives you now a lecture, a boring ass lecture about supply and demand and like, you know, curved graphs and all this kind of stuff, people switch off. No one's listening, no one cares. His whole thing is about having energy and momentum, and you need to keep that, I think. And you don't do that by becoming a boring technocrat. Even though that on this occasion that answer would be the correct answer. Correct and right are not the same thing.
True.
Make a profit, sure, but this isn't about squeezing out every single profit they can make, and that's going on far too often with far too many huge businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not accepting that carbon tax would end up being...
I genuinely would be fine with him just coming out and answering every question with, companies are fucking us. I will stop them fucking us. You don't need to be... You don't need more of an explanation than that.
I mean, it's basically the same as what Nigel Farage does with immigrants, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but again, that would be, it's correct when Polanski does it.
Yeah.
Whereas Farage is just
very
like,
true, very true.
if we didn't have the brown people here, we'd have the flying buses. It's nonsense.
Ow, I've stubbed my toe. We can blame BlackRock for that.
Yeah.
Plumbers, hairdressers, and most average households.
No, and we've been having this conversation.
We've
been having this conversation for decades because of the cost.
I did not call Helen a boring technocrat. That's not what I fucking said. You people
I'm
are
a boring technocrat.
You
People watch
incorrigible
me
fuckers.
People watch me for boring technocracy. Let's go.
Exactly. You do the substance. I do the sex appeal.
It's true.
It's not true. You've got that as well, and I've got a beard. Is that enough?
You finger dead fascists.
I do. Who did I finger the other day?
The Conservative Party.
I did finger the Conservative, but no, it was someone else very specific. Mario Cuomo.
Good one.
Because we were watching the debate with his very corrupt son.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want it to be clear.
Totally fine.
Now, one of your signature policies that wouldn't hit most people is a wealth tax, an annual tax on people's assets above 10 million. Can you tell our audience how much you think that would raise a year?
So the estimates that have come out from the TUC and a group called Patriotic Millionaires, who are a group of millionaires saying taxes more, look between 15 to 25 billion pounds a year.
Okay. Wealth taxes, as you know, have been tried in many other European countries similar to the UK. Spain has a wealth tax, which is quite similar to your proposal. Do you happen to know how much they raised in a year from their wealth tax?
No, I don't, but I'm hoping you can tell me.
Yeah, no, it's not a trick question. It's just interesting. It's about 3 billion euros, which is about £2.5 billion. That's in Spain. That is such a long way from your 15 to 25 billion a year.
Well, I think it's about getting the thresholds right and making sure it's done right. So
The Spain one is similar to your proposal.
Sure, but we're a different country. So we have the City of London for a start. There's an incredible amount of wealth in the City of London. So I think it's about making sure we're comparing apples and apples rather than apples and oranges.
Okay. I mean, I've got a few more countries if it helps.
Sure.
Switzerland raised €9.5 billion. From there,
Well,
wealth
yeah,
tax
that
in
famously big
2023,
country,
Norway.
Switzerland. That,
Yes.
Yeah, we're the sixth biggest economy in the world, Victoria.
Yeah, but have you considered fondue?
€2.7 billion. They're just sums that are way down from what you're suggesting you could raise. And we've got Paul
The
Johnson
return
in
of
March
the
this year,
sausage.
formerly of the Institute for Fiscal
What would
Studies.
it take for Kevin
no
to play
country
Magic
in
the
the world
Gathering
has ever
if it was the
successfully
only
had a
way to
wealth
avoid
tax
an Asturias, for instance?
that raised serious money. That's what I'm questioning.
And I think they're legitimate questions. I'd also say those aren't tiny amounts of money. So actually, whatever you're going to create from a wealth tax is ultimately about reducing inequality. This isn't about creating public investment. We can do that anyway.
Also, the framing there about those being small sums of money, when if you suggest spending fucking £5.71 on a school, it's like, where can we afford this? This outrageous sum of money to stop schools collapsing, you communist! But apparently raising tens of billions, that's not a lot. You're not going to do anything with that. That's crazy talk. Ridiculous shit. Thank you, Sozzle Snake. What would it take for Kev to play Magic the Gathering? I don't know, a bang on the head? I don't know. I'd have to be a very different person. I don't deal in degeneracy, okay? Just football violence. I do it for legal reasons. I've not done football violence. Actually, not for legal reasons. I haven't done football violence. That's not even a bit.
Anyway, we don't need to tax the wealthy to do that. This is ultimately about tackling the deep inequality in our society. In terms of Paul Johnson and the IFS, they very much look to protect and maintain the status quo. And what I would say is the status quo, the economy is not working for almost anyone at the moment, unless you're in that top 1%
Right. Don't you
of the
accept
wealthiest.
the IFS are independent?
They are independent, but there's been reports just last week around their connection with Barclays and some of the things that they've been saying. I think it's legitimate to question economists no matter where they come from.
Sure, I'm just...
Yes. Again, take the fight to them. Don't let them fucking pretend that this is like you can have economics without any ideology involved. Sorry, ideology sniff. This is intrinsically ideological.
It's true. Also, a really important point there when Zach says there's links between the Institute for Fiscal Studies and Barclays Bank. This is true, and this is because Barclays partnered with the IFS for their Green Budget 2025 report. And I'm just like, weird how Barclays partner with the IFS for the Green Budget report, and were also the person who Rachel Reeves appointed after meeting at Davos to a climate change committee thing, because they wanted to change it to private investment in green energy rather than public investment, then choose to work for Barclays, and also someone from Barclays end up on that same climate change committee who then partnered with the IFS for the Green Budget report. Weird.
Very
strange.
Yeah, that's interesting. They say they are independent.
Sure.
You want the...
Yeah, but some people claim to be honorary presidents of Jewish Aston Villa supporters clubs. You shouldn't just take people at their fucking word as a journalist.
You want to spend a lot more on public services and welfare. I wonder if the wealth tax, you present it as a panacea when it's probably not. Is that fair?
No, I don't present it as a panacea at all. In fact, I don't even think it's close to a panacea. That's just the start of the things we need to do. We need to bring capital gains tax in line with income tax. And the reason why that's important...
I am not a Zulu. Shut the fuck up, Bunny in the Box. Oh God, I've just realised the racial connotation of that. No, the Birmingham hooligan firm is called Zulus, or the Zulu Army. I wasn't making a point about African tribal peoples. Jesus Christ. Although I'm not one of those either, but I wouldn't be so disdainful about them.
Right now, if you're a cleaner, you could be paying more tax than the person who owns the building that you're cleaning. We need to tax earned income as much as we tax unearned wealth. Sorry, the other way around. We need to tax unearned wealth as much as we tax earned income.
Right. I'm just wondering if you look at countries around...
I know it's a simple mistake, but...
At least he corrected himself.
At least he did. That's fine, yeah.
More than we do on public services and have better public services as a result. They tend to tax the income of everyone in order to get those excellent public services, including lower and middle income earners. And maybe you just have to say to people, we're all going to have to pay for this.
will absolutely say that. I think at the moment, the moment we're in at the moment, people are really, really struggling. And so I think it's right that the focus is on the super wealthy. I think once we start to move to a better footing as a society where we have better public infrastructure and services, then I think it is legitimate to say paying tax is something that's actually patriotic. We should be proud of contributing to this country, to making sure we have an NHS that works, that we have public transport that works. And yes, everyone will have to pay for that. But ultimately, this is about where is the biggest burden, and that should be on the people.
If this man gets elected, I'm posting hog on Maine. I swear to God. I just am. It's happening, people. There's nothing you can do about it.
With the broadest shoulders.
We've got the...
Go on, sorry.
I mean, it's crazy. Someone actually in the public media, a public-facing politician said, tax is a good thing.
Yeah. Taxes are not like an evil, terrible thing. Governments are there to do stuff.
And he specifically said there, it was just like, well, the burden primarily should be on the super rich. And once we've got that all sorted, then we can look at making it so that it's more contributory.
And
again,
once we're on a better footing, hypno boob for everyone.
Literally, we can nationalise the hypno boob.
Let's fucking go.
Former head of NATO here in the studio this morning, Jens Stoltenberg. Tensions with Russia are back in the news as Donald Trump tries to resolve the war in Ukraine. I wanted to ask about the Greens' position on NATO, if I may. Do you want the UK to withdraw from NATO?
Not immediately. The world is in political turmoil and we need to make sure our country is defended.
Right.
However, we've got Donald Trump in the White House. I would say that America has always been a problem in regards to NATO and American imperialism. But in Donald Trump, we have a man who Mark Rutte, the current head of NATO, says we should call him Daddy, despite the fact he talks about turning Gaza into a luxury Riviera.
Well, he doesn't anymore, does he?
Mark Rutte is pathetic. Honestly, there are a lot of people who've shown their arse in this, but him and the fucking Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA, the worst of it. Even worse than Keith, to be honest.
True.
But and I've seen some people on the left criticising this answer on social media. But what other answer can he possibly give? Literally, like, this is the perfect answer, because we all know he doesn't like NATO. I don't fucking like NATO. I would like us to leave NATO. But it's not realistic right now, and the Overton window is way out of reach of that position. So you do the sensible thing of hedging your bets,
It's also not the concern of most people. Most people care about bills, they care about the cost of living, they care about the NHS. And the position NATO is not a concern of theirs. And you look out of touch by having it like front and centre of your political campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Although Victoria Derbyshire there saying, oh, well, Trump doesn't say he wants to turn Gaza into a luxury Riviera anymore. And I'm like, well, you have to question the morals of somebody who've ever said it once, right?
Yeah.
If someone as a head of state at any point said something, I know, let's do a genocide, right? I want to genocide XYZ ethnic group and turn the place we've genocided them from into a real estate opportunity for my mates, right? I would then be skeptical of them as an individual for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
If 2 weeks later they go, "Oh, it's just a joke, mate," I would have concerns, right? Just because he doesn't say it anymore, why did he ever have that position to begin with? Again, he's only changed his mind because people in his own base have decided they hate Israel. Good.
And he wants a peace prize.
True.
Which he's never going to get. Lol. Yes, technically Zach is already elected. I meant elected as like Prime Minister, not as a London fucking Assembly member. I don't even live in London.
I just want to come back to the beginning of your answer here, because you said not immediately.
Right.
Which suggests that at some point you want the UK to pull out of NATO.
Well, what I want right now is conversations with our Europe.
No, I want NATO to pull out of us. Hey-o.
Literally, and out of all the other places that they have their tendrils into.
Indeed.
European neighbours,
Right
because
now.
I think Brexit was one of the most catastrophic decisions
Okay,
we ever
but-
made, economically and for security.
But I think you've just told us this morning also
That was his pitch to the Lib Dem voters. Good stuff.
that you want the UK to...
It's also, the point is that Zach can't say this position for the UK to leave NATO, because that's not Green Party position. The Green Party position is to stay part of NATO and to reform it from the inside.
Yeah, like when they...
it's one that is
Yeah.
noble but silly.
But they do this thing where, like, he came out and said he supports Welsh and Scottish independence. And I don't know what the official Green Party position is on that, actually. And it doesn't really matter, because it was announced as like, oh, this is now the Green Party's position. Like, he's not a dictator. That's not the Green Party's position necessarily. That's just the thing that he personally believes.
But also, it is the Green Party. He
It
basically
probably is, yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
He says that position because that is the democratic position that has been put forward by the Scottish and Welsh Green parties.
Fair enough. So why are the Scottish National Party, not the Scottish National, why the Scottish Green Party not a part of the National Green Party then? Why don't they just
I mean, they
rejoin?
left over transphobia in 2021, but since we've had Carla as leader and now Zach as leader, the tensions have gone down, and they've been discussing about trying to build those links back up at the Scottish Greens conference.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Pull out of NATO. Is that fair?
Once we've created an alternative alliance with our European neighbours, we should absolutely be looking at a different way that is focused on peace and diplomacy rather than on nuclear weapons.
Okay, so let me ask you then, if one of our European allies was attacked by Russia and they invoked Article 5 of the NATO treaty, which says we must defend them, would you support the UK defending one of our European allies?
Well, we clearly have to because we're in NATO, but this is part of the point. The Intelligence Council just last week wanted to release a report. The Guardian reported that it was sat on by the government because they weren't ready to deal with the consequences. What were the consequences? They said that the biggest security threat this country is facing right now is food insecurity and also looking at global pandemics. I think we need to be making sure that we're spending money on the actual climate crisis and food insecurity rather than £15 billion on nuclear weapons at the same time that our NHS is...
Yeah, it is getting a little bit, would you blow up the world, Mr. Corbyn type deal. It's the same smears as that, yeah. Basically.
That's really good. The important part of this answer, right, is that we're spending all this money on defending our country, and our country fucking sucks. Like,
yeah.
What are we defending now? We're defending, as I've pointed out many times, 3 financiers in a trench coat. Like, what is there to defend anymore outside of the city of London?
I'm very proud that we have got nuclear weapons defending all of our food banks.
literally, it's true. What the response you really want to give here is just go like, well, at the moment as a NATO member, they would invoke Article 5, right? And so we would have to.
Yeah.
But if we had a different alliance with European partners, which was a strategic defense alliance, then we would want to anyway because we want to defend Europe.
Yeah.
Of course we would, you know?
Exactly. Like that's the thing. I'm not against an actual defensive pact. That's a wonderful thing, especially because we do face, or some of our European allies face the potential of being invaded. So I've got no problem with standing shoulder to shoulder with the peoples of Europe. Awesome. But NATO isn't that. It's never been that. It's just been the fuck Russia, or I suppose technically fuck the USSR club. That's it.
I mean, and then again, like all the other ones that it's done has been intervention elsewhere when it's not about defending its own member states, right? Like
they did sort of set up some slave markets in Libya, yeah.
Yes, Libya, like places in the Middle East as well, and obviously fucking famously Yugoslavia as well.
Look, who hasn't bombed a few hospitals accidentally? Totally accidentally, honest.
I think it's what's frustrating, right? Is especially the ground troops in like Bosnia was a very noble thing to do, but there wouldn't have been a genocide in Bosnia if people politically aligned with NATO weren't deliberately stoking the nationalist sentiments of the people who did the fucking genocide in the first place.
True. Are you someone who's changed their name? Because I don't recognise this, but I like the name of the person in my chat. Toolmaker Dad. I don't recognise that, but it says you've been a member or you've been following me for 18 months or something. So are you a regular that's changed their name to be funny? Because I appreciate that.
Crumbling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, is that it?
Green Party.
What? Oh, what a load of shit. That was rubbish.
I didn't ask about abolishing landlords. Boo.
No, well, you wouldn't want to tackle anything popular to get him support. Oh, what's that? They got fucking support anyway. Thousands of people joined after watching this. Cool.
Party leader in England and Wales. Thank you for your time. Okay, well, let's ask our panel what they think about...
Also, this is the galling aspect. When they interview some fucking random actor, as they're about to, why waste that bit of the show when you could have interviewed any of the other politicians? Look, I'm not watching this to watch fucking Toby Jones's take on Othello. The fuck is that? Sorry, it's really annoying. It's such piss poor journalism.
Out the surge in Green membership. Adil, Zach Polanski has only been leader of the Greens for just over a month. What do you... he's definitely making headlines. What do you put his appeal down to?
Well, look, I think Zach has admitted himself he's enjoying this sort of populist stance that he's taking, you know, and I think there's a lot of sort of moral arguments that he seems to be winning with a lot of people. And I think he's been allowed to do that because there's been a vacuum from the major parties. If you look at something like Gaza, for example, and Gaza, in many ways, it is the litmus test for our morality in the whole world at the moment. And he's very, very clear on that. Migration. He put out a video the other day.
What's more likely
positive
is
stance
leaving
on
NATO or
migration
Israel
about
joining.
all. I mean,
At least
the
Toby
list.
Jones
It was a
is a
poem
good
by
actor.
Benjamin Zephaniah, and the list of nationalities he listed in that video. It's something we've not seen, even from Labour, who have been traditionally pro-migration. So he's sort of finding a space here, which I think is seemed quite.
Well, it's not just finding a space. It's like, as he pointed out, it's been completely vacated. There's a whole wing of British politics not being served. So no wonder all of those people are gravitating towards him. Yeah.
Also, the framing is really weird. Like, they always call it pro-migration, right? They always say there's a pro-migration. Well, we're ambivalent towards the act of migration, right? Like, whether people come here or not is of no concern to me. I broadly believe in people's ability to want to live wherever they want, right? But, like, fundamentally, what we actually are pro-migrant, right? We don't want to demonize the people that do it. We don't want to treat the people that do it like they are somehow lesser or that they're polluting society in the way that Farage or Jenrick or even fucking Keir Starmer would claim that they are. They're making us an island of strangers. Fundamentally, if migration goes down, we have fewer people coming here, then whatever. I have no concern either way. Like, right-wingers try to paint us as if we're desperate for everybody to come here immediately. And I'm like, well, no. If they do or they don't, it's no concern of mine. But the people that do come here shouldn't be treated like vermin, which is what our political class are doing.
Yeah. 130,000 now. 6,000
members in a day.
In one day. That's more than... When he took over as leader, that would equate to more than 10% of the existing party. In a day. One day. One interview on fucking BBC.
Exactly.
See, that's why the right wing never give leftists a voice. Because they know there are leftists in the country who want to be represented, and they don't want any of this, populist nonsense to ever take off.
Oh, I wonder how many of those people watched him not answer a question about carbon taxes and instead move it, as you rightly put it, to the things they actually care about, and then didn't have any concern about the question not being answered.
Well, they're used to politicians not asking a question. What they're not used to is they're moving on to talk about something rather than just wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, indeed, something that they actually care about.
Yeah. Yes. Does Zach just sit off screen? No, I presume he just gets up and leaves the studio. He's not going to sit there and listen
go back to the green room.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Soul Snake, who says, what's more likely, us leaving NATO or Israel joining? Well, Israel's never joining. There's no way the countries of Europe are going to be like, oh, I'm going to go to war for Israel. Like, they'll give them plenty of support, but they know their people don't want to go and fight and die for Israel. It's never happening. Anyway, I forgot to reshare the other screen.
He's definitely got the TikTok economy, that is for sure. Jens Stoltenberg, you have written a book on my watch. I want to ask you, I mean, you talk about several encounters you've had with Donald Trump when he was president the first time around, but just let me ask you, first of all, about Zelensky and Trump meeting on Friday. President Zelensky left without being able to use these Tomahawk missiles against Russia.
But I don't really care.
Fair enough.
I don't care what Jens Stoltenberg has to say.
Yeah, I don't care about any of this nonsense. And that's literally it. That's literally it. So they didn't even talk about that Maccabi thing at all.
They didn't even talk about Zach Polanski other than Adil Ray going, well, he's pro-migration. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. That's
great analysis there.
So they got on a guy literally directly connected with Aston Villa to not talk about that big topic from the week.
Literally.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Incredible. Thank you, BBC, for continuing to plumb new depths of nonsense. Fucking... Did you see... It's so annoying. They're determined to destroy Britain so that Israel can survive. Like literally every aspect of it. Do you know the BBC, the Match of the Day ratings have like halved or something since Gary Lineker? Yeah, they've gone down massively. Or I think they halved at their worst. I think they have bounced back slightly, but they're down massively. So they've destroyed the #1 football program in the country because you can't allow any criticism of Israel to enter the public domain ever.
No, literally.
They're now destroying European football, apparently, to do it as well. Like, what the fuck? This is the British Patriots, everyone. Fantastic.
Just a topsy-turvy world. This whole saga has been genuinely blackpilling.
For me, it hasn't been blackpilling because I think a lot of people will wake up. I think a lot of people are now beginning to genuinely see through this and be like, why are they going to bat for these fucking people when we don't want them here?
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, unless you've got anything more, we can go to bed. Oh my god, is it 12:30? What the fuck?
Yeah, literally. I was gonna say we could cover the rightoid on Twitter who said she'd never eaten a curry, but I'll get to that tomorrow. It's
That's
funny.
what a belter. Love it. Okay. Left of the box.
Yep, on YouTube, I was going to suggest the very same. I'm going to go to Ray K over on. Oh no, they've just started playing video games now. They're not doing politics. Let's go to Katie, shall we? Mad Cat Scotty Eye.
Well, I went into them yesterday. I like to share it around slightly, so you can go there and I'll go somewhere else. We don't have to double raid every time.
True, but it's nice to double raid.
Well, I'll go Zakat.
Yeah, let's do Zakat.
Okay.
Everyone go and follow KF Logan 175 immediately. That's an order.
Go and follow No Justice MTG. She is imagine Ash Sarkar, but even more communist.
True, very true, very true.
Yeah. Okie doke, everyone. Thank you for listening and watching. I'll be back later today because fucking hell, it's
now Monday. I'll also be back today as well. They'll do an afternoon stream, so then I can raid into you for your. You got happy hour at 6, right?
We have indeed. Well remembered. Yeah. Indeed. Yes. From the river to the sea. I will continue saying it no matter if Keir Starmer thinks it's genocidal because he actually is genocidal. Go fuck yourself, Keith. Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free, indeed. Take care and see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.